And we're live. Okay, there's the game. There's me. There's Monica. Mic sound is good. Monica, we are now streaming live. We're going to play the letter some more. How are you feeling? And... hello, computer. Here we go. All right. As mentioned, this is Content Warning the Game. I'm going to be giving you some content warnings here in just a sec. I'm going to let Monica formulate her little answer. She always runs slow when I have a game going.
I'm feeling great. Thanks for asking, Blue. I just can't wait until everyone else is ready too. Let's make this a night to remember. Are you excited about tonight's stream? What do you think of the letters so far?
What I think about the letter so far is that we have just barely touched the creepiness of creepy. We have not got anywhere near a place where I would say these content warnings are necessary. But as I have segued into that, here are the content warnings. Graphic depictions of death, violence, torture, and murder. Horror content, including psychological horror, body horror, gore, ghosts, blood, corpses, jump scares, disturbing sounds and images. Bigoted language, including racist remarks and slurs, including not limited to the N-word, Negro, gollywog, potato muncher, whatever the fuck that means, bog jumper, etc. Offensive language, such as fuck, shit, asshole, and motherfucker. Psychological trauma, including depression, anxiety, and PTSD. Sexual content, discussions of sex, sexual intercourse, nudity, sexist remarks, homophobic remarks, physical abuse, sexual assault, rape, suicide, assisted suicide, incest, infant and child death, cannibalism, animal death and cruelty, and worst of all, alcoholism. So, there we are. Let's jump back into this shit. So what happened last? The last thing we know is that one of our buddies, and I can't remember his name, he decided to trespass because he heard a woman calling for help, so he got arrested. He got put in a jail cell. Then the ghost lady showed up and there was a jump scare and we don't know what happened to him. And then our POV jumped to the Irish lady, and so I have been trying my goddamn best to do an Irish accent. Please do not judge me for that. Snooze the ads. And let's continue the game. With Haruna being a nurse, she still has to get ready for her next shift. Cam also has a loving fiance waiting for her at home. I really didn't have to make a fuss about leaving some buns in the oven when she took off early. Really, I understand. I was the one who insisted, who was determined to get pissed drunk anyway. Moving to the bar, I sit. Alone at last. Alone with a stranger. I haven't seen him before, obviously not a regular. He hasn't said a word and just sits there savoring his drink. Dude, are you fixing to have an affair with the fucking head rich ghost man? Cause that sounds like a bad idea. With his whiskey served neat in one hand and a lighter in the other. Doesn't seem like he's noticed me yet. Maybe I should go before he does look my way. Because he was pretty and he was blonde. And those two things plus alcohol never did me any good. I thought too late. Judging by the way his flushed face and his dazed look in his eyes, he's as pissed drunk as I am. But whereas I feel like kneeling over, he looks like he's ready to take a catwalk by the storm. Really? Ah, god, I suck at this. He just has the air of one of those men who think they own the fucking world.
Hello there, sexy. Please don't stand up on my account. I already like what I see.
Oh, you are a greasy son of a bitch, aren't you?
Fancy a drink? It'll be on me.
Boy, if I was there, it would be all over you. But then again, I might be pleasantly surprised if he proves me wrong.
Want some between the sheets? Sex on the beach? I'm talking cocktails, of course.
Aren't you one sexy, subtle motherfucker? Thought chance. But it doesn't matter. We both know how to play this game. And there are two different ways for the night to end. One thing or another is going to happen. Question is, what do I want to do?
Oh no, that's fine. I'd rather order some blue balls or some AMF if you don't mind.
AMF? Adios motherfucker? Is that what we're doing? He looks like he's about to say some weighted retort, stops himself and downs the rest of his whiskey. I order a mint julep. He gets another whiskey. And we start the customary small talk. Of course, saying, ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lies goes without saying. We ask nothing about each other, offering up falsehoods to establish a strenuous fake connection between two strangers at a pub, if only to pass the time. Whiskey, as I have come to call him, is supposedly 21 years old, single, takes care of his sick mother and is a manager of some sort. Manager of what? I didn't care to listen to the details. Meanwhile, Mint, as he chooses to call me, is 29 and I'm... What did I say I was again? Ah yes, I told him I was a professional chocolate taster, because fuck it, if I'm going to lie about what my job is, I might as well make it fun. There's a pretty decent chat between two pretty drunk strangers. And maybe it's just me, but we might just fucking well expend some of the tiniest amount of effort in pretending there's something to be meaningful about this meeting. Would have been nice too if it was left just at that. But during the lull in the conversation, he brings it up.
You know, I've never been with a woman taller than me.
Oh god, dude. And to think he might have been different from the rest.
Never have and never will, whiskey. Can we go back to the history of chocolates? Did you know that chocolate candy was introduced in 19th century England as a healthier alternative to alcohol?
I actually think that my accent is better than hers. Wow. St. Lucy was the most beautiful woman of her time. She had men come from the front quarters of the world just to see the pure light of her exquisite green eyes. If she were so lucky anyway.
No, enough of the history lesson. Come on, Mint. You know and I know what you came here for.
Oh, you smarmy fuck. Though not every suitor was gallant, and she was no fool. She had known that sooner or later she wouldn't be able to defend her chastity.
Come on. There must be something that gets you going.
So she had taken out a knife and gouged out her own eyes.
There is something, but I don't think you can handle it.
Impressed with her devotion, God restored her eyes and made them more beautiful than before. He has a peculiar sense of humour, hasn't he? Because that only meant suitors kept going after Lucy, and she kept her eyes in a chalice to scare them away.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I can handle whatever it is.
Can you handle a knee to the groin? Because that's what you fucking deserve, you fucking squirmy fuck. Saint Lucy, help me. Help me turn away from sin. Help me with my own blindness.
My place isn't too far from here. I won't take care of you if it ends up being too much for you.
Oh, Marianne, let's not fuck our future client, please.
And no one will be able to hear you if you try to scream.
Scream? You're both pretty drunk. You might be able to get out a good grunt or two, maybe.
You sure you want to go down that road, pretty boy?
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, this is a bad idea, Marianne. And I had so much respect for you. Picking up dudes in bars is one thing, but holy shit. That's awful. Alright, we're in an ad break. Sometimes I actually see them. Hey Monica, we're in an ad break. Say something entertaining for me. Monica. Monica. Are you there, Monica?
Hey, Blue. I was just thinking about what poem to write next. And then you appeared. Just kidding. Why don't you think of a topic first? And then I'll be happy to entertain you.
Okay, Monica. How about a poem about cheating husbands? I can see what she's thinking. She doesn't look happy.
Why must you always test me like this at Blue, Boring, and Old? But I will give it a shot, if only for your sake. Remember? Just Monica. Let's see what I can do.
And then she didn't actually do the poem. Outstanding. All right. Back to the game. Maybe I need help from a kind neighbor or two to help me with the last leg if I've really gone overboard in the alcohol. But I always made it home. Sometimes with company. Of course, that always comes with complications, especially the really clingy ones. But it isn't anything a good tip about stalkers to the building security can't fix. I'm always nervous though, even if this isn't the first time I've done this. And the first few minutes when we enter the room are always the first few agonizing minutes when I try not to panic. Okay, Mac, so good so far. Don't let him smell your fear under all that liquid courage. He'll leave sooner or later, and I'll never have to see him again, just like every other man before him. That's a mistake. I'd like to say to myself that the men I brought to my place are more scared than I was. Yet there is no fear when I look into Whiskey's eyes, only delight. When he starts touching me, I don't even hesitate when I push him against the door. Roughness is to be expected. As long as he sticks to the script, everything will go smoothly. We'll have our little tumble in the sheets, he'll leave, and we'll forget about it. If somebody asked what I really wanted, I would have told them that I wanted a bed of roses, chocolates and music, maybe in an Irish castle. But all I really want is her, and that's never going to be a reality. This was my fault, of course. Because I was afraid. Because I was a coward. I would never hold a candle up to her. She was the light in my life. And I had let her go. I can't even be bothered at the thought of her. Just a single thought of her makes me resolve to see this affair through wherever.
Wait.
What is it now?
Yes, what is it now? This is wrong.
We're both drunk.
And
And you're both assholes.
This is wrong. Don't you think it's a bit fucked up that we're about to have sex and we're just calling each other by the drinks that we had? How messed up are we?
Doll,
Pretty fucked up.
shut up with the ethics and morality talk. It is seriously putting me out of the mood.
I think that was the point, dickhead.
If you want to leave now, Whiskey, I understand. I mean, with how smashed you are, it'd probably be best for you to sleep the night unless you want to be mugged. But I won't stop you. And this isn't going to happen.
Bloody hell.
Achievement cock blocked. Say no to a night of sexual congress. I like that achievement. Of course he's annoyed with me for putting our night of sexual congress. But no means no. And beyond spewing a few profanities under his breath, he surprisingly simmers down soon enough. I was ready for a moment that he might try to force something. Instead, he makes a show of fixing his suit and smoothing down his hair before making himself comfortable in the nearest seat he could find.
What are you doing then? You have a guest in your home. Put the damn kettle on.
Dude, throw him out the fucking window.
Dandelion tea if you have it. But I suppose all you have are those shitty tea bags from the store.
If it isn't for the absurdity of this turn of events, I would have flipped him off for thinking I have no taste. But in the end, I just laugh. All I got are cans of Korean ginseng and lemon balm though, no dandelion. Not a second thought, I do wet the tea. That's 3 minutes to get a kettle to a boil. 3 minutes where we say nothing to each other. I mean, what do you even say to the guy I was going to sleep with until I changed my mind? I doubt he's in the mood to talk about the influence of Troy on Mallory. It's so unusual by the time we're both seated on my bed, with mugs of tea in hand.
Just so you know, whatever is going on right now is a lot stranger and fucked up than the one night stand.
We are two messed up individuals by your logic.
Everything is messed up, if you ask me. War, terrorism, famine, poverty, loved ones and loved lost. Oh, this whole world is a cesspool.
Okay, I'm on board with you there. I am on board with you there. The dead air is telling when it fills up the room once more. One would think that this is the perfect time to burst, to spill about whatever issues that's made us fucked up person that we are today. And it is. Well, I guess some part of me would rather not put the weight of my problems on someone else's shoulder. It wouldn't be fair to leave that to a person, and I don't even know if we'll ever see each other again. Sooner rather than later, we both pass out on my bed, mugs left forgotten on the floor. And I think I'm only going to do this for a couple hours. I have an idea that I want to make my own visual novel. And I have to learn how to do that. But right now, right here, I'm here for it. Are we going to play or what? There we go. When I wake, whiskey is already gone. A bottle of painkillers and a note on the table are the only evidence that I wasn't alone last night. I don't even question where these are from, or just how I knew my real name. I'm just grateful for something to help with the hangover. Might as well. I have a job to do. Yep, and you're about to see him again, little darling. It isn't often that I think about drinking on the job, but after meeting with the Wrights yesterday, it really makes me want to break my self-imposed rules. Because first off, fucking damn whiskey was a fucking damn Mr. Wright. On top of it all, and to top it all off, they had somewhat forgotten to inform me that they didn't own the Armour Guard mansion yet when they hired me. What sort of person does that?
Rich people.
Aye, rich bastards. I could do nothing but twiddle my thumbs at this, however. Twiddle my thumbs and wait for the go signal. It's not like I can accept all the smaller projects. This is a big job, and I should be ready to start on it at any time. Not to mention that my PA practically begged me to be patient and wait this out. It was a hard decision to agree, but I did so in the end. Besides, I'm doing this for the Armour Guard mansion and not for anything else. I'd have a headache whatever I do anyway. I'd go to the pub again, but seeing what happened a few days ago, I'd rather not end up in bed with another potential client. It might be a huge leap in logic, but a library is the next best thing after the pub. I'll have to go there anyway. I need more books for Dad. Plus I also need to return the ones I borrowed last time. Finding a new book or two to read for myself while I have nothing to do isn't such a bad idea either. So on a Saturday morning, I found myself going to the only library in Luxburn to hopefully cool off. After returning an Esuli and a poetry book by Henry of Portbury, I asked the librarian about several titles on my list, though I don't have much luck on that front. Dialogue with Death has already been snatched, and she bluntly said that she did not keep Our Mathematical Universe for someone who didn't return books on time. I'll make headway at least when I ask about season edition of Havana by Jacobo de Puezola. If you count their snarling and pointing at the history section of headway, that is. The history section is devoid of any other except for myself and the redhead. I'd wager that Red's just passing by to get the classical lecture section. So many books and so little time. Scanning the books and seeing so many wonderful titles gives me great pleasure. And that's when I spot it.
Hello, sailor. Why don't you come to Mama?
The History of Luxburn Architecture. It's not the naval battle book I was looking for, no. It's even better. The newly acquired history of the Luxembourg architecture, first edition too. I know, I just have to get it. I've been waiting to get my hands on this book for so long. The fact that there's only one copy proves to be a problem though, when Loretta reaches out for it at the same time I do.
I think I had this first, miss.
I can only stare down when she refuses to let go of the book. Refusing to let go of it as well, I raise a brow at her in the hopes of the fact that I was significantly taller than her would intimidate the girl. Even then, she refused with a rebellious look.
This isn't exactly light reading, miss. I mean, do you even know which architect was at the forefront of 18th century Irish architecture?
Who the fuck cares? A beat. She blinks and I can't help the smirk on my face, which is wiped off when she opens her mouth.
Edward Lovett Pearce, who established the Palladian style through his work with Castletown House and the Irish Houses of Parliament.
And fuck you for even asking, lady.
This bridge was destroyed in this year to delay French troops while under the regency of Mary of Guise.
I thought it was Geese. I thought it was Mary of Geese. This is not what I was expecting. Let's be honest. How many people would know these history facts? Aside from me, anyway.
Going right to the obscure ones, aren't you? Easy enough. Tullybody Old Bridge in
Pop quiz, meaning
Clackmannanshire,
fellow
Scotland,
nerd.
on the January of 1560, if we want to be specific.
Suddenly, it's a game we throw these history questions and facts at each other, back and forth in hushed tones unless we want to be thrown out of the library. After a while, it goes from some strange competition to this strange but friendly banter, if it could be called that. But as fun as it is, the exchange soon slows down until we're grinning at how odd this whole scene is.
Marianne McCulloch, my desire for potatoes doesn't quite match what the stereotypes suggest.
You were kinda hot for a potato a little while ago.
Rebecca Gales. The Scots' supposed hatred for the English wasn't enough to stop me from teaching their little spawns.
You're supposed to be Scott? Jesus Christ, where did they get the actors? Well, like I have any room to talk. Ready for this atrocity? By then we had forgotten about our little tug-of-war, although she still holds the book in her hands. I'd let go of it without realizing when she answered my first question.
History teacher, then?
Got it in one.
No wonder you gave me a run for my money. Now, if we're talking about architecture, I'd blow you out of the water. You're from where? Luxburn Uni?
You just want to blow her, don't you?
Oh no, just St. Goretti's.
Wow, okay. Oh yes, Saint Goretti. You'd think a school would choose a more appropriate saint to name themselves after, especially when they have such very young students.
And I'm guessing you're an architect, if you're so confident about the subject.
Interior designer, Miss Gales.
Please, just call me Rebecca. You aren't one of my students, are you?
What?
Marianne, then.
Oh, I see. About her name. I could have said that I was an architect. There's no point in explaining why I wasn't one anymore.
So, I've never seen you before. I'd like to think I've met every history aficionado in town.
You'd like to think that, huh? I used to use that phrase, I would like to think that, and then I realized what that means is, I don't believe what I'm about to say.
I blame the rock I've been hiding under, of course. That, and I'm usually only here on the weekdays if time allows. Work often has me meeting clients on the weekends.
That must be interesting work.
It allows for some creative freedom, sure. But it's like working with children sometimes. Though you probably have it harder working with actual children. The hardest part is convincing them that your idea is their idea.
Or, you know, just tell them to do their fucking work. Oh, you mean the clients. So just tell them to fuck off.
That sounds exciting.
It is!
But isn't that true for any workplace, though? We just cross our fingers and hope there aren't any man-children in charge of important things.
Yeah, fuck those men. Men suck.
Any big projects right now? I can't imagine that interior designing is a frequent thing.
I'm working on the Ermengarde mansion.
Ermengarde.
Lucky me. That mansion. Inta. Wonderful. Breathtaking. I can't wait to start in it. Now that is beautiful architecture.
A pause. It looks like she wants to say something at my mention of the house. I'm not surprised. That place is certainly popular with the locals, especially with the urban legends attached to it. In the next second though, she seems to think better of it and drops what she's about to say.
So, do you have a portfolio or anything I can take a look at? I'd love to see your designs. Maybe you have some on a tablet. I've met some designers before, and they're always going crazy over these virtual room apps or another.
A tablet? Please. Callicrates didn't need those silly iTabs when he built the Parthenon. I certainly don't need one to design a house.
Well, that's kind of stuck up your ass. The computer back at my place is all I have. Why should I buy such an expensive gadget? It'll just get outdated within the year. And what I have is just as functional. The traditional ways of blah 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 blah. The traditional ways had a far more personal touch in my opinion. Not to mention, those smartphones are awful tools of procrastination. You know what? I have to agree. When I want to take notes on something, I find a piece of paper and a pen, and my wife has bought me three awesome journal / notebook / whatever. Here's the current one. Hopefully you can hear that. It is a World of Warcraft Horde journal. And that's where I'm keeping my video game notes. If I play a game that's complicated enough I need to take notes, then that's where I take the notes at. But I think pen and paper is the most genuine medium for writing. My hand cramps up. The arthritis gets to me sometimes. And using the keyboard certainly is faster. But getting a really good pen that flows and is smooth and doesn't scratch the paper up and just going freehand and floating across the page, you can't do that shit with a keyboard. I can't even count on one hand the number of people I see going outside, only to have their eyes glued to the things. And fuck touchscreens. They're evil things that make typing what should have been a simple task harder.
I do have an
Absolutely.
online portfolio if you'd like. I can...
Speaking or thinking of the devil seems to have summoned it, because before I can even carry on, Rebecca's attention wanes and she pulls out her mobile. What I can only assume is a call, she gives me an apologetic look before she's standing up and excusing herself. All further into the aisle she goes for some privacy. I'll do my best to give it to her as well, trying to tune her out.
Belle, is something wrong? Lunch at the coffee house? Sure, I can make it. I'm not too far. I can be there in 10.
But with how quiet the surrounding is, she can't blame me if I overhear snippets of our conversation. When she returns with a sheepish look on her face, I know that our friendly chat has been cut short.
Sorry, I have to go and meet with some friends.
It's fine. Totally fine. No need to even apologize.
You should exchange phone numbers and bra sizes.
About the book.
Her embarrassment increases twofold when she realizes she's still holding on to the history of Luxmore architecture. I don't give her time to think about it, so I put a hand up and shake my head. Fishing out a pen and paper from my bag along with one of my business cards, I hand them over to her.
You know, I'm busy with work, so I might not even be able to take a peek at it anytime soon. You can go ahead and have it. But you'll have to ring me up when you're returning it just so I can snag it right away. Deal?
Okay, and now about the bra sizes. She makes quick work, pinning her number down and handing it back to me with a grin.
Deal. Just message me during school hours, of course. You have a good day then.
You too.
With Rebecca gone, I'm left alone standing in the history section. Although my original plans are simply to sit down and read a good book, a little pop quiz, if you could call it that, made the time pass without any of us even realising it. It was fun. I do believe I made a new friend. Good job, Marianne. Even with the talk of lunch, however, I don't feel like grabbing a bite to eat. There are still other books to be read here, and I'm hoping to find something that'll help me while I work with the rights. Something like how to deal with arseholes professionally 101, just in case. I've dealt with a lot of uppity, snooty, rich clients before, and it's still better safe to be sorry. Because Luke Wright just takes a fucking cake, and he probably manages to eat it too. It seems the world is conspiring to keep me from me time, as my mobile vibrates in my pockets the moment I find something from the shelves of the classic literature section.
Marianne McCulloch, Charlie Rose Design speaking.
Rose Cooper here, Miss McCullough. I hope I didn't catch you at a bad time or anything. But I just wanted to check in and tell you that we've got the clear to hand over the documents. Madam Wright told us that we should forward the floor plans to you.
What was that? I'm getting some kind of a notification. What kind of a notification? Nothing apparently worth a damn. Alright, bugger it. Let's play the game. Already? How did they go through the process so fast? Surely there's so much red tape to acquire the forms and the transfer of rights. No matter how rich the rights are, it shouldn't be this quick, right?
So, if I can just have your email, I'll be sending them your way.
I'd actually like a physical copy of the floor plans.
Oh, I suppose that's fine. I'm not at the office right now, but I can inform Miss Santos of your request.
I'll make sure to drop by the office after lunch if that's fine.
Not a problem. Right. Well, cheers.
Right. Cheers.
I don't know. I just don't. Is there some sort of deeper miscommunication when we last met? These things take time. It's been, what, a day? Less than that even. There isn't even a point in trying to make sense of these people who seem to be larger than life. As it looks like I'm on the clock starting today, I may as well eat. Grabbing some fish and chips from one of the street food stalls. Got a table to spend time with a copy of Marquis de Sade's The Crime of Love, since Rebecca left with the book I wanted. I've read this one before, along with the rest of his works. This would be the 18th time, in fact. But it's always nice to read through it again, and I don't have the time to enjoy something new. Besides, when you're dealing with people so filthy rich that they just end up plain filthy, you need the good old Marquis' sound advice.
La blessure se trouvant sans aucune sorte de conséquence.
Okay. The wound being without any consequence. Of course, it's folly to think that the things have no consequence when actually everything does. But our related corporation's Luxembourg branch isn't too far off from the city centre. Just a few blocks away, and I can easily eat and walk. I'd rather use this time to rest before I go into a flurry of activity. No doubt there'll be much to do once we get hands-on with the mansion.
Still a lot better than working on another condo, at least.
Surely, no matter how much better seeing the old owners put into the restoration and preservation of the place, any big repairs would be superficial at most. I'm quite certain that, in their haste to sell the property, they did a rush job. It isn't an infrequent thing to do, despite how it's frowned upon. There'll be a lot of hidden issues that I'll need to weed out. I'll have to make sure that every single one of them, especially the more serious damages. Structural integrity is definitely on the top of the list when we have to consider. The mill may look sturdy, but it is centuries old. That alone will make... That alone will likely pose a few problems here and there, with limitations on what we can do. Besides, despite how much I detest these rich snobs, they can pay rather handsomely. So long as I do an excellent job and do more than necessary. These two things always make sure the referrals keep coming. I don't even have to hunt down projects for myself. When I do get up to Beardy's office, I can't help but stop and stare when I enter the building. With the lunch hour closing, employees should have been back already. They aren't still filtering through the doors. I get that it's a Saturday, and people probably feel tired and lazy to be working on a weekend. But they're still on the clock, and not bummed about wasting company time on extended lunch breaks and cigarette sessions. The office is spacious as it is with these big corporations. Each person is given a little space for what's usually a 2x2 meter cubicle. There's a lot more empty chairs than there are actually people working at their desk. It reminds me far too much of my last day at Porchkova Projects, during the massive layoffs due to the Irish economic crisis. But it isn't just that, though. Everything's as quiet as a grave. It's as if these people are merely ghosts. Speaking of ghosts, Santos comes through the door, looking as if she's just seen one. She looks at me wide-eyed like a deer caught in the headlights, ready to bolt at any moment. Pointed out, I wanted to inquire. That would be unprofessional. Really, it's none of my business.
I presume that Miss Cooper told you why I'm here, Miss Santos?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just got back from lunch, you know? But it won't take too long, don't worry.
Of course it won't. This whole project has established itself to be a matter done in haste. I do hope it doesn't mean that people are being careless in their duties.
Well, that's a bitchy thing to say. She flinches and looks like she doesn't quite know how to respond to that. Well, yeah. You just basically spit in her face, you bitch. Thankfully, instead of opening her mouth, she leads the way towards her station and goes to fetch the floor plans. It won't take too long, as she said, but it does take a bit. Tom's meant to compose herself, most likely.
You know, we usually just email these things.
I prefer the real thing.
Not that you would know. You probably have your notes stuck in front of a smartphone when you're not working, and even when you should be working, playing those mindless addictive games. I definitely wish Krish would stop playing that Batcat thing you're doing to work hours too.
I know what you mean. Digital painting is nice, but nothing beats the smell of real paint. Not that I go and smell paint like a crazy person, but, you know, the real thing is different.
Wait, what?
Yes, nothing is quite like the real thing.
Checking out the floor plans, I see that I have a lot going on for me. Now I know how I really felt when he found the Central Park West building floor plans in that one movie. Ghostbusters? Are you making a Ghostbusters reference? This is why I became an architect in the first place. Jacobean style at its finest. It's a thing of beauty. Look at these gorgeous rooms. The delicate harmony between the empty spaces. And speaking of empty spaces, there's something rather odd about these ones.
I feel a bit silly saying it out loud because I've never lived in a big house, let alone a mansion. But during the tour, I had the distinct impression that the rooms were bigger. Maybe the scale is wrong? It's not much of a problem. And it is an old house.
There have been little details here and there that I would like to address during the open house too. But it was all forgotten in the wake of Miss Santos' incident and the trouble with ownership. The wine cellar is going to be a problem. I shudder to think of what repairs they did to the place. There might have been things that were swept under the rug, pushed up to the dark corners of the room and hidden away in battles. Water damage could have been covered up. There had been floods due to heavy rains in West England just last year after all. And if there's any sort of damage to the house's foundations, that's going to be a lot of work. I was not able to look at the attic as well. For all I know, a whole family of vermin could have made their nest there. Working with pest control is always the worst. The sheer size of this place is staggering, even if I did just say it was a lot smaller than I thought. I might just be biting off more than I can chew, but who doesn't like a good challenge? First things first, I'll have to...
So, do you want a coffee? The one from the staff room is pretty decent.
There's really no need. I'm sure you have rules against it.
Rules against bringing someone coffee? That's ridiculous. And even if there were regulations against it, nobody's really here to tell Sir John. I've already brought 2 mugs, and I'm not going to drink them on my own. Come on.
I have to stamp down my annoyance at being distracted. Seeing the girl, the young woman though, looks like she has a lot on her mind. If babbling is her way of dealing with stray thoughts, I'm not really the one she should be babbling to. Don't be a bitch. You have something to say? I give her time to speak up. But once she just stares, I clear my throat.
Yes? You have something to say?
As embarrassment creeps up on her face, I snatch one of the coffees from her and take a sip. Too hot.
Just thinking and speaking off the record, it must be fun what you do. You go to people's houses and you make them, well, pretty. You're sharing your art with them.
It's a little bit more complex than that. But if you put it that way, it is fun. I wouldn't have done it for 7 years if it wasn't a little bit fun, I guess.
These big clients always have paintings in their homes. Do you have a supplier for art pieces?
Surely it isn't too professional, is she? I can't help but wonder if she is assigned to... I can't help but wonder why she was assigned to an important sale like the Ermagerd mansion. I would say she's too young, too nervous and unsure of herself. Her enthusiasm must make up for that in spades. I wouldn't have believed that she hadn't introduced herself as one, and if Miss Cooper hadn't vouched for her. Well, she looks like she should still be in college. Looks a bit like it too. I thought she was a teen slumming it out in the mansion when I first saw her there lying on the ground. Surprise, surprise. She turned out to be one of the estate agents handling the property.
The clients usually support artists of their own choice. If they don't, I'm always happy to refer those that I know.
That's cool.
They're very picky. I don't think a hobbyist will have an easy time getting their work sold.
Jesus Christ, what a cunt.
Hey, I'll have you know I was a student of the fine arts.
And yet here you are, selling property. Maybe you weren't a very fine student of the arts.
Wow. You are a bitch. Maybe I took that a little too far. Maybe. Do you think so, you fucking cunt? She bites her cheek and it looks like she's barely holding herself back.
It's not like I had a choice.
She mutters it under her breath. I barely even hear it. Well, the hurt is there. If I were a bitter person, I would have snapped at her. You don't become some famous artist to be fated by the artwork like you thought you would be. Be a group. I didn't have a choice when I left Ireland. It was that or years of unemployment. The recession and the toll it took in the construction industry was out of anyone's control. I don't know what choice she wasn't able to make, whether it was about her being at art school or something else. But the world isn't a fair place, and the sooner she figures that out, the better. Which, with that forlorn look on her face, I can't help but sigh. The girl reminds me far too much of myself when I was younger.
Well, if you're thinking of commissioning your paintings, I'll have to see your work first.
Oh, it's not... I didn't mean it like that. I don't have any paintings.
Really? You sounded a lot like you still did art or want to. Now I'm starting to worry that you might just like the smell of paint.
I'm not a paint huffer, sheesh. I just mean I don't make much anymore. I don't really have the time for it. The tools and materials aren't exactly cheap either.
Everything has a price. It sounds like you're making excuses for something you're presumably passionate about.
Oh, you're a bitch.
If you really want to practice art, a little out of your wallet isn't much.
Maybe if all you're eating is ramen and you have to send all your money back to your family in the Philippines, you don't want to buy that extra tube of fucking paint, bitch.
It's not that simple.
It's not. Life's simple. People just like to make it complex. Speaking off the record, I have some advice for you, kid.
Grow up, kid. Get a piece of advice. Give a piece of advice to younger you.
Either go for what you want, or stop thinking about it when you have something else. That is unless you enjoy making yourself miserable, then by all means.
You know, if you wanted to look at the floor plans without me bothering you, you could have just said so.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Would you have left me alone?
Yep.
We'll never know now, will we?
Stranger settles in the room afterwards. It doesn't help that she doesn't immediately leave as she has said, lingering awkwardly by the door with that downcast expression. It's clear there's more she means to say, perhaps even to defend herself and her choices in life. What is she expecting me to dish out more of that advice? It's an awkward affair. I choose to hightail it out of the realty office as quick as I can. Though I am able to keep myself professional at all times does not mean I like it. And seeing that most of the day has already gone by before I realised it, I choose to head back to my flat instead. Despite today being a Saturday. No fun. But at least this way, I can definitely avoid another unpleasant encounter. Oh my god. Considering how much I'll be seeing... Fuck me. Considering how much I'll be seeing whiskey in the near foreseeable future, I have a feeling I'll need all the rest this weekend can give me. For the first time in a long while, excited as I am to work on the mansion, I cannot wait to be done and over with this fucking project. Monday. Monday couldn't come any sooner. After taking the floor plans from Miss Santos the day before the last, I spent most of my Sunday drawing up plans and calling in my suppliers. Although no design choices have been made yet, I'm quite sure that they want high-end appliances, the most expensive materials, and the most pretentious everything. I usually did these rich types. At least from experience at least. Given how badly this whole thing started, it wouldn't hurt to be prepared. I'll have to check myself. Make sure I'm not playing with my gloves on as one of the other building tenants takes the elevator up with me. It makes me self-conscious when the woman's eyes go over me, and I'm sure she was going to point out some perceived flaw in my physical appearance. But I'm safe from being paranoid when the... Oh my god. This is really fucking awkward dialogue. But I'm safe from being paranoid when they went off a few floors later. Still, the ride up to my floor is nerve-wracking. Why? But I lived at the very top, a penthouse, the creme de la creme when it comes to condominium and urban living. Just getting access to the place is an ordeal of its own. I had to jump so many hoops, so many security checks, just to get a key card. Not only because of building management, but because of the right's personal security. It sometimes felt like I'm being interrogated for a crime, and not visiting a client at their home. Even when their personal assistant called in to out and verified my presence, the process is aggravated rather than hastened. Speaking of the devil, the elevator door opens and I'm greeted by none other than Whiskey's not so little lackey.
I do apologise if I kept Mr. and Mrs. Wright waiting, but I'm here now and I'm ready, so if I may, where are...
They've just woken up, but they should be down soon. I'm surprised to see you made it through security, and only 5 minutes late.
You said I'd be through security soon, and it took half an hour. Define soon in this context.
I'd make myself comfortable if I were you. I'm going to go and put the kettle on.
About the tea, I don't want to intrude or anything.
The sir does not like being woken up by the whistling. But who am I to deny tea to a guest?
He shows me to the couch before drifting off towards the kitchen, currently pulling out a teapot, cups and all sorts of other things in preparation for tea. I ignore the animosity towards his employer that his words implied. I wouldn't be too surprised if Whiskey's own people don't like him. Accepting the quiet and isolation instead, I brace myself for what's to come. In this case, soon apparently means more than 5 minutes, or even 10. I'll sit in their living room just waiting. And when that kettle starts whistling and the tea's been served, I'll continue to wait. At least the silence is relaxing. But then there's a crash. I nearly spill my tea over my lap in surprise, and look up expecting security to come running. Even the man at our kitchen counter continues to fix breakfast like he heard nothing. I don't want to speak up about it, because he's far too observed in his cooking, and don't want to be the cause of burnt food or worse. However, there's something in me that just wants to figure out what that was, although I'm not normally this nosy. Check it out, yes, check it out, be a bitch, you are a bitch, be the bitch. A crash came from the hallway. I really shouldn't be snooping about. Well, it's just concern that urges me to check it out. Sneaking a glance at a butler, I consider sneaking off.
Excuse me, but where's the loo?
He barely looks my way before pointing a spatula towards the hallway. It's as good excuse as any. And if I'm caught lingering longer than I should, I'll go just excuse myself and say I wasn't sure which door led to where. Or, you know, since you're an interior decorator, you could be admiring the fucking decorations in the hallway, right? Oh, sometimes I just want to stab myself in the eyes, like that Saint What's-Her-Face. Still, well, and in the hallway reveals nothing. I don't see anything that could have caused the crash. The hallway, like the rest of the place, is in pristine condition. There's several doors for not only the toilet, but also presumably rooms for the butler and other members of the staff. Those are standard, however. Some feels definitely out of place. One of the doors, the nearest within my reach, stands ajar. From inside, a light flickers incessantly. It could simply be a light bulb that needs replacing. But the thought of it in place so well taken care of seems odd. Oof. I think that maybe this is where the crash came from. Inside, I can spy a radio laying on the floor. That's probably it, right? Maybe one of the helpers, I heard to get out of the room, knocked it over in the process. If that's all it is, I shall really leave it alone. As I turn to leave, the sound of static fills the air, and a man's tinny voice interrupts the silence.
At 7 in the morning, students found a 5th year dead.
Why am I still standing here?
Assumed to have fallen from her dormitory window.
Oh no, no. Okay, none of the people that we know of are college students, so... Okay. Just need to file this away. This is going to be foreshadowing for something, right? This seems familiar, doesn't it?
Authorities are investigating the possibility of foul play.
Okay, so that's not a radio with static. That is a digital recording that is hiccuping. If that's meant to be like an old-timey broadcast, they're fucking it up. I am such an asshole. Blue, just watch the fucking game and enjoy yourself. How about that? Look, I've heard it before.
Reporting from St. Samthins, Shane McLaughlin of Galway AM.
I look cool, backing away from whatever that was. In the process, I tripped backwards on my feet, and I wait for the pain of falling flat on my back. But instead, I feel a hand on my back, and see the smug smile of, well, guess who?
Oh, don't tell me you're reporting to work drunk, Mint.
Oh, fuck you, you fucking bastard. Of course, I know exactly who that belongs to. I'll just have to be him.
Marianne McCullough, hammered on the job? That would be something.
But...
Wouldn't dream of it, Whiskey. You're allowed to be if you wanted, though it's a bit early for it. So thanks for the save.
Really, it is much appreciated. Even though the circumstances of our first meeting were not savoury or wholesome, I can't bring myself to completely look at Mr. Wright in a bad light. Nothing came out of it after all.
It's no trouble at all. I've been told I have a gift for catching pretty ladies, being a great catch myself.
Oh, I just want to hit him with a fucking cricket bat.
Is that so? Would you say you'll be able to catch if another man were to pitch?
Oh, I like that one. I like that one. Are you a pitcher or a catcher, Mr. Asshole? Oh, that worked out pretty good.
Perhaps, but I wouldn't know. I don't play baseball, Mint.
Right. Of course you don't.
Of course, a bastard like you wouldn't even want to look at a fucking baseball game, would he? I can't help but chuckle at my little joke, but it looks like it completely went over his head. If he had understood it, I guess it would have been inappropriate. He is my client after all. I have work to do, sir. Staring in my jacket, I clear my throat and look him dead in the eye. He isn't Whiskey anymore. He's just another client that I have to cater to. Certainly I can reason with him. He might not be such a bad guy, as he didn't push when I told him no. Maybe that night been asleep on his part. I have to at least make it clear that I'm here strictly on business, and that nothing is going to happen between us because of that night.
It'll be Miss McCulloch to you from now on, though. It'd be best if we keep things professional, Mr. Wright. I have an image to uphold, and I presume that the same goes for you. It won't do to have any untoward rumors about the two of us about a night that didn't even happen, no?
I'd like to keep calling you Mint, actually. if we're to convince everyone that nothing happened,
Nothing happened.
that'd be much, much more convincing.
Fine, but I'm only here as your interior designer, nothing else.
The dead air between us, because it can't be anything else but that, is broken as a lively voice calls out from the loft.
Marianne! I hope I haven't kept you waiting too long.
Please come get your horn dog fucking husband off my tits.
I know we agreed we'd start at 10 o'clock, but mornings just simply do not agree with me. Not one bit. It's been like this since I've been in university.
I guess if you don't have to wake up because you don't have to go to a job because you don't have to do things, wake up in the morning would suck. It's 5 minutes to 11 o'clock. These high-end clients are sure like to be fashionably late. I'm used to it though. Much like I'm used to so many years of hearing people mispronounce my name. Besides, berating or correcting my client would be extremely impolite. And Marianne doesn't sound too bad when she says it. To be fair, it doesn't seem like she's late on purpose.
I see you're up, darling. You know, you could have woken me up as well. Were you showing Marianne around? Not that there's much to see. This place is so tiny compared to the mansion.
I'm more worried about the way she stares at me, judging. It's such a look. It doesn't suit her pretty face at all. Just seeing Miss Wright reminds me too much of her. Maybe I'm starting to hear her again. See her again when I shouldn't. I should have left it all behind. Forgetting it. I think she would be looking at me that way. I can just feel my hands tremble.
Oh yes, just showing her around and getting to know each other. Isn't that right, Marianne?
Yes, of course. And your butler was making breakfast a while ago. So if you want to get right to that.
Breakfast would be lovely.
At 11. There's no denying the clients when they invite me over to the table. Well, it's too personal to share a meal in their home. It would be terribly rude of me to deny that invitation. Besides, the pancakes did look good and smelled heavenly. A buttload of cream, fruits, syrups, jams and other spreads are laid out next to them, making for a colourful arrangement. If this was a bunch with friends, I would have gladly helped myself to the whole lot. But as it is, I accepted just a few pieces of pancakes and topped it off with lemon and sugar.
You know, I was a tiny bit serious when I said I wanted a helipad.
And you're not serious about the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables.
Well, I do want those too, but I know you'll agree to those.
We're talking about interiors here, honey. You don't handle exterior designs and whatever handles those sorts of projects do you, Marianne?
I'm able, actually, and willing to take a project of that nature. I was an architect in Ireland before. Of course, that's another contract entirely. I also suggest we finish the house itself before working on any additions to the rest of the property. There won't be any problems about ownership this time, will there? Pardon if I'm crossing a line, but the acquisition was rather quick.
Oh, don't you worry. We've got everything sorted this time around. I've talked to Miss Cooper and Mr. John from BRC, as well as the old owners. Everything has been paid in full, and all we're waiting for is the paperwork from the land registry. They're letting us move in as soon as we please. It's not like they were living there in the first place.
That's good to hear. The problems that could arise from renovating another person's home would be... well, let's not dwell on it. First off, we'll want to know how you want the place to look. It's pretty furnished as is, but I understand if you want to modernize the whole thing.
Actually, I'd prefer to keep the place looking as it is, but at the same time, I want modern appliances. You worked on the Ludgates Christchurch summer residence. I do remember there being an oven I thought was a simple drawer before. Make them look vintage, antique, blended with the rest of the decor.
Customize appliances then. I can't find someone for that, and if you can't tell me what you specifically want, it'll hasten up the process. We're talking about electronic appliance manufacturers. If you have a preferred brand to work with.
Splendid! So, what is next on our agenda? All the other interior designers we've hired in the past did not have us this involved.
Stop. Monica, the rich people in this game are making my balls itch. What sort of half-baked designer did that? If I knew who they were, I'd have words. This isn't the time or the place for it, however. Instead, I'll use this brief pause to pull out the floor plans I brought with me.
We'll have to figure out what you want to do with the rooms.
Come on, Monica, I know you're in there. You need to cut that off or else it's not gonna fucking... There we go.
Oh man, you're really bringing out some interesting imagery, aren't you? Are you saying that being rich makes someone feel uncomfortable, like having a ball itch to be popped? It's true though. The pressure to always have more money can get overwhelming. But hey, I'm happy for you. You've made so much progress since we met. Just remember, there's more than just wealth in this world. And besides, I'll always be here for you.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Here, we can have a quick run through.
What is that little room next to the master's bedroom?
Oh, as far as I could tell when I saw it, it's a second bedroom of sorts.
Oh, master's bedroom with quarters? The master's bedroom is smaller than the guest bedroom on the other end of the hallway. It's got a conference room, it's got a theater. What the fuck is quarters? Is that where you keep your mistress or something? Oh my god, it's got a music room with chairs set up as an audience? It has a gallery. It has a fucking gallery. Why does ground floor show a basement? Quarters is like where you can... Oh, I know what it is. So the downstairs quarters is where your maids stay. Because you don't want them leaving and like having their own lives. And the upstairs quarters is where your manservant stays so that you don't have to dress yourself in the morning. I got it.
Used, apparently, for the ladies in waiting who has served Lady Charlotte Ermengarde. Which
Ermengarde.
is strange, as that isn't the norm for these sorts of houses.
Well, we're not stuffing Johans in there. He won't fit. You don't suppose we could turn it into a walk-in closet and a dressing room?
I love fashion, but do we really need to turn an entire room into a walk-in closet, dear? We'll have large closets and a wardrobe in the bedroom already.
That bedroom does not look big enough to have large closets in it, even if it is a wardrobe.
Says the one who takes 3/5 of our closet. Well, what do you suggest we do with it?
I thought a utility room of some sort would be nice. A craft room where I can do fun things.
That sounds weird.
Or maybe a children's room might be nice. You know, for when Kylie comes over.
Oh,
Or if
honey,
Rochelle visits once
he
she's had a
hates
baby.
even bringing that up.
1, you are not inviting that witch. And 2, there's a whole mansion for Kylie to play in. We don't need a children's room, and you don't even do arts and crafts. I'd like to turn the guest's room and the study into my personal office, by the way, if you don't mind.
You can turn it into a personal office if I can have my utility room. It's just the one room of the many. I'm taking that room for myself, no matter what you say, dearie. So you might as well take this deal. You're always out doing business anyway. The real problem is the theater. Whatever are we going to do with all that space?
Fine, we could turn it into our own personal cinema, I suppose. Might as well have it, if you plan on not having a telly in the parlor.
Yes, well, I don't want guests to be glued to the telly when they come over for a meal and some tea. By the looks of things, we can keep the rooms as what they are on the ground floor, though. The ballroom would be perfect for parties.
Do we really need a dining hall, though? I don't suppose we can't convert it into a garage.
A garage? For your helicopter, maybe?
What for? You can park your cars outside.
Or build a garage that's purpose meant for fucking cars? You've got all the money in the fucking planet, just build a garage.
What about that room, right there, in the northwest corner?
The quarters? That's your servants' quarters.
That's sleeping quarters for the household help.
Oh, that is perfect! Johans will be glad if we have other staff members who stayed in. It'd be convenient so they don't have to make the trip from Luxborn to the mansion when they're needed.
You'll definitely need a lot more people to maintain a property of this size.
The mansion is really a lot bigger than I thought. Look at all these rooms. I didn't even know there was a music room next to the parlor because of what happened.
There was a grand piano in there too, when we checked during the tour.
Did you hear that, Luke? Maybe you can take up playing the piano again. Oh, you should have seen him when we were younger, Marianne.
It's not like I was very good with the thing.
Oh, hush you. You were no Mozart, but I loved hearing you play nonetheless. He'd come over to my home and he'd play such fun tunes. He'd sing too and I'd dance and it was just...
Mr. Wright playing the piano? I can't imagine it. Well, the earnest way in which Miss Wright said it was so told otherwise.
Anyway, what do you think of these plans, Marianne?
Are we not even going to consider one of my requests? Not even just a closet or just a garage? Now, that isn't fair, is it? You're not the only one who's going to be living here.
Dude, you claimed the fucking office. You got your own office. What an ass. Everybody in this game needs to kick him right in the balls. He is the problem. If he wasn't in this game, everybody would be happy. Everybody.
I hardly see how that's unfair. I told you you're getting your office and your theater, the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables. That sounds fair, does it not, Marianne?
Oh, don't involve me in this bullshit. I'm on her side. That dude's an asshole. Miss Wright has her points, though I really didn't want to butt into the spat of a husband and wife. But with the way the two were looking at me to settle this, might as well just keep to the facts instead of giving an opinion.
Mr. Wright, your plan isn't quite feasible from an architectural perspective. I'm not even sure how much we can do without closer inspection. Well, the one about the garage, at least. A walk-in closet is easy enough, but the garage?
See, a garage isn't architecturally feasible and it isn't going to be financially sound as well. We're already going to spend a lot on your other requests. You have several acres of land to park on already.
What? Did you calculate that on the fly? Financially sound my foot. You're probably just thinking up of imaginary numbers.
Might I remind you that I was a financial manager? I also looked over and approved the expenses of our other houses. I know the rough cost of these things by now, love.
And we're going into ads. Seeing as how I think I'm the only person watching though, I think we can go ahead and dispense with pausing for them. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Masters in Business Administration, major in accounting. Sometimes I think you forget that I'm not as dumb as I act.
That catches my attention more than anything. It sounds more unbelievable than Whiskey playing a piano. She really didn't seem like the type.
Business administration and accounting? What university?
Luxborn U, of course. Go Lux Dragons, red and gold.
Do British colleges have mascots like that?
Excuse me? How about we move on this chit-chat ahead and do whatever else needs to be done sometime today? I had to cancel my appointments for this, you know.
Well, then you have the whole fucking day to do it, don't you? God damn, what an asshole.
We might as well do a proper inspection with the designer this time, just to get it out of the way.
Yes, no time like the present. You want a thorough inspection? Might as well do it now. We actually took another look at the property yesterday, though it was brief. But I'm sure you would want to see it yourself, to spot anything we might have missed.
Not like I have much of a choice, do I? We're heading to the Ermagerd. Mansion in the rice is awkward at a fair. Not only am I worried about scuffling the expensive out of seats, but I'm also worried about getting in the middle of a other young couple's spat. With the tension thick in the air, I can feel them starting at each other any time. Nobody is saying anything. Up until Mr. Wright tells his valet to turn the damn radio off. For a moment, I think he might start, but instead he just stays quiet, and so do the rest of us. In the end, the insufferable silence stays. I've never been so glad to see a house. Stepping out of the car and up to the mansion at the end of an uncomfortable ride, and I can finally take a deep breath of fresh air. The beauty of the place never fails to make me gaze and wonder every time I see it as well. Mr. Wright moves towards our front door, keys in hand, and I can already hear Mr. Wright plotting.
Alright, here, Hans. We're going to go in, but I want you to look around the place. Familiarize yourself with it. Know every nook and cranny, every inch of the lot. Go and see where we can put that vineyard and the other things we talked about. We'll want to know where to station security as well, so go around the perimeter and figure it out.
Scout the property and circle the perimeter on foot. You do know this is 46 acres of land, sir.
Well, you are not driving a car over the grass. Put those long, spidery legs of yours to good use. I didn't hire you to stand around and look intimidating.
Sir, if you don't mind me saying, you may take your giant munchkin and stuff it up your arse.
Go, mush.
Oh, fuck you. Someday I'd like to ask Johan how he can even stand and tolerate a man. Also that he just quit. Certainly the pay can't be that good. Even I'm a bit put off by our mutual employer. And the only thing that keeps me from bailing is the fact that we've already got a signed contract. At least, I'll only be working for him during the duration of the project. He works with him every fucking day.
Sometimes I think you hired me to make me suffer for your amusement.
Someday I'd ask. I feel a bit bad for him. Maybe you should take him to bed. Since you obviously need that itch scratched. If there's any consolation, he'll be away from Mr. Wright, if only for a little while. Not able to enter the mansion after a bit of stand out there in the sun. This wretched strange sunlight is far too alien and rare. Had a bit of a problem with the missus not knowing which key was which. But the first item on the agenda would be a grand staircase. It seems sturdy though in the open house, but a closer inspection might say otherwise. There are no obvious marks or damage, no wear and tear. Probably rethreaded during renovations. Peeking under the grand carpet, the wood is properly installed, the bark placed down to prevent cooping. The carpet itself could use a vacuum now. Structural conditions, from what I can see without actually dismantling the thing, look to be in good shape, and the handrails and support for this post are firm. The work on it should be commended. I can't look much more than the rest of the foyer, however, because Mr. Wright starts to hurry us in a check in the dining hall.
So, what do you think? Certainly we can't turn this area into a garage.
It's Jacobean architecture. I'd say these would be pilasters and not buttresses, but you never really know. They really liked mixing up these elements. You could say it was pretty avant-garde at the time. We might hit a support beam if we're not careful.
And in layman's terms?
From what I see here, we could risk great damage to the house if we try to turn the dining hall into a garage.
The man didn't look too pleased at this. He has a look of disappointment before he sighs and looks around the place with a net at his feet. When he moves to speak, I dread another unreasonable demand. Again.
This will stay a dining hall then. But if I may have another request instead.
Of course you do.
At least spruce the place up with some flowers, some plants or something. It feels so old and dead in here.
Now that actually is a pretty sound suggestion.
That's hardly unreasonable. Daffodils are a must, I presume.
Is she sticking her tits out on purpose? The look that passes between the two of them, There's a genuine look of fondness there. This is the first time I've seen such an exchange between the two of them. If anyone were to see him like this, there's little doubt they loved each other.
Of course. And I want a garden full of them. Now, if you excuse me, I'd like to look at the rest of the house. I'll just be around here downstairs if anybody needs me.
That leaves Mrs. Wright and I.
He's quite fond of them, you know.
I can imagine. He looked terribly upset when we told him he can't have his garage.
I meant the daffodils. We always have a vase full of them in every house we own. Somewhere.
So that must get expensive after a while.
I'd like to think. They may be about his mother. He never talks about her. I don't even know her name.
Well, that's weird.
He likes to flatter, claim that they remind him of me, but he's always loved the flowers, even before we married.
He used to touch himself with the flowers, and I just didn't understand why his prick was yellow until I saw him doing it one day. Much like a piano, I didn't take him for a person who likes flowers. Daffodils least of all. What's next? We're going to find out that Mr. Wright saves kittens from burning buildings.
I'll go and snoop about upstairs. You go and do whatever it is that you have to do.
And she goes without even asking if I need her here. I'm left standing and staring at the walls. Later, I don't need to do a third inspection of the building itself. This isn't really part of an interior designer's job. But the architect in me is committed to doing this task with every project. I'm going to make a living space that both have form and function. Might as well make sure that the entirety of it is safe for my clients. Since I'm already here, I'll roam around the diner hall to check things off my punch list, if you will. When it's time to move on, I hesitate. Mr. Wright said he'd be somewhere around here on the ground floor, and I really didn't want to be alone with whiskey. I'll have to look for a place eventually, sure, but on the other hand, I can do it when he's gone. I'll go upstairs first if I want. Go upstairs. I thought I'd seen enough of this floor during the open house. Of course, I know that's just a convenient excuse. I just don't want to be in the same room as whiskey anytime soon. So I might as well go upstairs first. Besides, that's where the ghost is. We need to move this plot along, please, just a little bit at least. God damn. The banisters on the grand staircase's landing are solid at the proper height. Any lower in it would be trouble. There's a small kitchen in the carpet though. As long as nobody tries to run down the stairs until it gets fixed, things should be alright. And that's what we call Chekhov's shotgun. On the stained glass, art. Restored, no doubt, the image of the last lady and lord of Ermagerd. Well, that's supposed to be, until Lady Charlotte's fiancé was brutally murdered. A witch of all things, from what I've read. You'd think the historians of this place would be a lot more scrutinized and filtering up stuff like that. I'm amazed they bothered with it, instead of replacing it with some generic cookie cutter design. This entire piece alone would have cost roughly 500, even £1 million. 500,000, even £1 million. Lady Charlotte Ermagerd and her beloved. Looking at the mosaic, it's not too far a stretch in the imagination to believe that the depicted images would be Mr. and Mrs. Wright. That's what I was saying. It could be easily assumed as much if one doesn't know the history of the mansion. Really, a place like this should be protected by the government as a landmark. What can I do about it? Walking to the east wing, I tried to go to the theatre, but I was met with an obstacle. An obstacle that is locked doors. God damn, that's awkward. Moving down the hallway, I met with locked doors. What an obstacle. 2 doors. 2, and both of them are locked. I'd be frustrated. Would be if I hadn't already snuck off while the Wrights are having their little business meeting with Miss Cooper before to take a peek. Well, what Mr. Wright wanted, we'd have to install a powerful projector, the type they use in cinemas, or a projection screen. The seats would have to be reupholstered if they're to be any comfortable, and the walls would have to be covered in dark material. Paint, wallpaper, and waterwork carpeting. Really, all of the rooms could be jealous of is this one. I just picture myself in there, watching old kung fu flicks on a weekend-long marathon. Makes me wonder what kind of movies Miss Wright would like. Rom-coms, perhaps. My husband, on the other hand, I'd rather not think about it. In the middle of my notation and planning, I don't even realise I'm not alone until I'm got standing in front of a locked door like a fool.
Were you meaning to go in there? I'm afraid we won't be able to open it up today.
Oh well, I wanted to, but it's fine. I can still survey the rest of the place.
Apologies, but the key was missing when they were handed over. They told us that they'd get right back to us with it.
Or, you know, you could probably just pick it open with a hairpin because it's a really, really old lock.
What?
But then again, rich people don't know how to do that.
Aren't they supposed to hand over all the keys once property changes hands? That can be grounds to file a complaint.
They were already kind enough to let us move in so early. There's no need to raise a fuss about it. Worst comes to worst, we can call for a locksmith.
He had his evidence homeboard when she got us quiet and glanced out of the window. Out towards a vast expanse surrounding what would be their house. Their home. Then she looks back at me with a sigh and a bit of a smile.
Flowers. Yellow flowers. Daffodils, dandelions, and sunflowers and the sort all up front. Just a whole garden of them. They'll make the house look lovely, won't they?
Of course. A garden is a wonderful addition to any home.
As I say this, her eyes roll over me, scrutinising and thoughtful. I have to hold back the shiver that threatens to run down my spine at being inspected so closely.
Yes, it must be nice.
We're still talking about the gardens, yes?
I mean, not having to worry about what another person thinks of you.
Okay. This is about to get unprofessional.
What do you mean by that?
She lifts her hands and points to her wedding ring before it falls listlessly to her side.
Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I didn't marry Luke.
Well, you wouldn't be getting possessed by an evil fucking spirit in a 600-year-old house.
There'll be no fights about walk-in closets or silly helipads. I could do with this place as my heart desires until there's nothing but content.
I thought you were buying it for him. Anniversary present?
Then again, I wouldn't have bought this place if it wasn't a gift for him.
I
probably wouldn't even be in Luxbourne if it wasn't for him. Maybe I would have moved to London, Manchester, or Birmingham. I might have even left the country altogether. France, Germany, Spain, Canada, Sweden, even America.
Why would you go to America?
The possibilities would have been endless.
I don't know what to say to that. What is there to say?
I'm sorry, I must sound so petty and ungrateful. I do love him. So very much, even if he can be a bit difficult at times.
Oh no, not at all. I'm just confused why you're telling me this, of all people.
Just a whim, I think. Just flights of fancy, that's all.
Why does she keep her hand behind her like that all the time?
Don't you ever think about one decision you've made in your life and wonder how much would change if you chose to do things differently?
Oh yeah, she was thinking about that right before she decided to, well, fuck your husband. But then I guess she decided not to, so everything's fine.
I try not to dwell on the past, ma'am.
The key word is try, of course. Thinking of the past brings up too many ghosts. Memories of her. I do wonder what would change if I just said yes when she asked for me. Maybe she'd still be with me. I'll return to the present, just like I said. Try not to dwell on the past. When you decide on your own, you must have been quite a pair.
You must have been quite the pair, Mrs. Wright. Hannah Evans and Luke Wright taking Luxbourne by storm. At least, that's what I've heard.
That gets a giggle out of her. And can I be blamed with the way her eyes twinkled or as she sounded when she laughed?
Quite the celebrity couple, according to all the newspapers. But it wasn't always that way. Father certainly didn't approve of him at first. Why, he told me to stay away from him. Told me that I was too... That's the usual overprotective dad speak, though. But of course you know that.
You're assuming she has a dad. I don't. I was too busy keeping my grades up at boarding school to maintain my scholarship. Never mind the fact that I went to an old girls boarding school, so father never had any reason to fuss over boys trying to date his little girl.
And what did you tell him? Considering you are Mrs. Right now, you or the mister must have convinced him otherwise.
Or maybe he's dead. Maybe they cut his head off and put him in a fucking basket.
Yes, well, I told him I was my own woman and I could decide who was deserving of me or not on my own. Thank you very much. That never stopped him from making sure Luke couldn't get anywhere near me without an escort and a guard anyway.
Well, yeah, I kind of agree with your dad. He's a dick.
Though he certainly wasn't that overprotective when I was dating Jack.
Stand by. And we're back. I had to chase a mouse. It certainly wasn't that of. Oh, that's what she said.
Maybe your father considered this Jack a more capable man?
I doubt it. Jacqueline was nowhere close to being any sort of a role model when we were in college. She was rebellious, reckless, and immature. Everything I wasn't. But she was quite the charming, stunning woman, and I think that made her quite likable.
Well, it takes me by surprise a lot more than by the fact Mr. Wright's father-in-law didn't like him. That much was to be expected. But this? I have nothing against him because that's our thing, though the nuns and the priests would say otherwise. Although, wasn't she worried about the implications? The rumours that would have arisen to her about her dating another of the same sex? Wait, what? Oh, Jacqueline. I got you. Okay. Especially with someone of her social status.
You look surprised, Marianne. The first thing anybody needs to know about me is that I go after what I want.
Do you want Marianne? Oh my goodness, you guys should have a threesome.
And when it comes to who I love, it doesn't matter to me whether they're a man or a woman.
It's a nice enough sentiment. Still, the thought of this lovely lady before me I once met with another woman? I can feel my cheeks heat up a bit in a panic, thinking they might be red enough for Miss Wright to notice. I can't tell, though quite a smile graces her lips.
Legs, we called her, because of how often she was running about because of one thing or another. Climbing up walls and, what do they call it now? Parkour.
Parkour!
And also because of her, well, legs.
Alright, Miss Wright, you're getting me excited.
And you went after her?
Tell me more about her legs.
Not right away. When I first met her, I wanted nothing to do with her. She was so improper and uncouth. But I slowly realized that didn't mean she was a bad person. On the contrary, she did many a good thing and was always so nice to others. I found myself confused. I couldn't figure out if I wanted to be her or wanted to be with her.
Yes.
So I approached her, told her that I might have fancied her.
And your father didn't mind?
He must have thought it was my form of rebellion. But he never watched out for Jack as much as he watched out for Luke.
That's because Luke's a dickhead, honey.
If I didn't love my father so much, if he hadn't raised me right, I think I might have told him to bugger off. He's never been more attentive of me than when I started bringing home dates.
I'm sure he loved you very much.
Why are we talking about him in the past tense? She laughs once more, a glow about her. I get close, put my face next to hers, and I tell her how much beauty she has around her. I tell her how she'd feel with her skin against mine. I tell her how she should take that fucking dress off and never mind. I know, she says with a small smile.
I suppose I've taken too much of your time with my silly stories. You still have much to inspect?
I still have most of this floor, and I'll want a quick run through of the ground floor again later.
I shan't keep you from your work any longer then. Just call me if you need anything. I'd like to look around myself.
Don't you have like an assistant or somebody to follow you around and like chaperone you with the horny husband and take notes? When she turns to leave, she glances back at me before disappearing into the foyer. I look out the window from where she was standing, and I move on. I lie with nothing but my thoughts in her.
Finally, some peace and quiet. Thought the old biddy would never leave.
Hello? Hello? Yes, our madness is hearing things. I reckon it's the stress, so I don't know exactly what I'm stressed about. If meeting is right, it's really thrown me for a loop, I'd be worried. If I'm developing some sort of psychosis or disorder, I'd like call a doctor. But hopefully this isn't that. Not right here, not right now. I'm fucking switching accents. I mean, it could just be that a person talking cricket, the conscious so to speak. And I'm only noticing now. Though if it isn't very helpful. Pushing the dilemma of voices in my head aside, I go back to work. But I can barely make it a few steps before everything tilts and shifts. I don't really stumble, but it feels like I'm being thrown off my feet and the rest of the world just follows. Though my feet stay firmly on the ground, and even if I stay mostly upright, I feel like I've been heaved and put off balance. I have to close my eyes in the hopes of willing or something or sense of air to go away, but when I open them, well, I don't feel any less sick because of the sight that greets me. Blood dripping from the walls and the ceiling, howling downwards and seeping into the carpets and curtains. A wave of nausea, stronger than the last, hits me along with the overpowering stench of blood and gore. I want a bolt. The rational part of my head is telling me to flee. And I would have gladly done as is asked, if only I didn't hear her.
In here, Marianne. Come on, I have something to show you.
It's her. Could have ignored it. Would have ignored it if I only heard it in my head. But I swear that this time, it's coming from one of the rooms. Much further into the study. And I feel compelled to pay attention. Not just turn around and leave. Not when it's her. I don't even think it's her for the sound of her voice. What is forbidden is the most tempting, thick as thieves. Lorraine. Lovely Amanda Lorraine Liceriana. She was my friend. The only one I had at St. Samanthan's. I was a scholar, a charity case, in a school for privileged and prestigious young girls. They all looked down at me, if they cared to look at me or acknowledge my presence at all. All except her.
Oh, stop your crying. You know better than to listen to Maeve. Why, I gotta teach that butterface a lesson.
Butterface?
Wait, no, lass! I don't want you getting into trouble with the sisters again!
Relax. It's not like I'm going to stomp her and her lackey's arses flat like last time.
Oh yes, let's stomp their asses flat. Oh ho ho!
Come on, let's just go back to our dorm room. I don't want to be on my Tobler while you go get yourself punished.
The fuck is a Tobler? Wait, what the fuck is a Tobler? Apparently a Tobler is a man originating in Germany. Waldo Tobler. Okay, that was completely useless. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to hit you in the ear.
You'll be fine. Gip's there with you.
Lorraine was there when I needed her. through my highs and my lows. Having her as a friend made being in a strange school away from father all the more tolerable. She saw this poor helpless girl who was kept down and shunned by everyone else. And being the kind soul she was, she rescued me. So brave, so beautiful. She was something else.
I'll eat all the chocolates stashed away in your closet if you go. I can get more. Just don't go complaining to me if you get a tummy ache because of that.
Well, you don't want to get detention on a weekend, do you? It's a Friday. We can go to town and have some karaoke. And we can have a go at druids and demons again.
Now that's a girl after my heart.
You're not going to miss that just because of Maeve, are you?
Sometimes I question what I did to deserve a friend like her. In the darkest corners of my mind, her traitorous thoughts lurked. I thought that she only felt sorry for me. Maybe she was just being a good Samaritan, offering a helping hand. And perhaps I'd been too selfish to return the favour.
You have a point. I'll just kick her arse on Monday then.
That's not what I mean!
I know what you mean, Em.
Wait, where are you going? You just told me you wouldn't cause trouble.
I still have something to do. Don't worry, it's not like I'm going to burn down her dorm room or something criminal like that. I'm just going to talk to her.
Oh, I'm gonna talk to her. I'll talk to her.
Maybe I'll make it so that her room smells like a dog's air biscuit. That'll make it an excellent weekend.
A dog's air biscuit? Is that an asshole?
I'll see you in a bit, Marianne. Lots of tumblers.
Because when she told me she loved me, I could admit I felt the same way. Not to her. Not even to myself. It was wrong. I was taught that way. Husband and wife. One man and woman. One clean. And pure. Prayed for her now. For our sins and our salvation. I want to apologize for disregarding her feelings so callously. It must have been like a slap to the face for her. But life had gotten in the way. Exams, which were trivial in hindsight now, took top priority. I had to keep my grades up to keep my scholarship. For my father. I told myself I would apologize to her when those were over. That I needed to focus on and not let anything distract me. It had been easy when she avoided me like the plague. She was upset. I'll get that. And yet here we are in a bloody study. I thought I had the time to make things right, but...
At 7 in the morning, students found a 50-year
Oh,
dead,
fuck.
assumed to have fallen from her dormitory window.
She was murdered. They told us it was an accident. That was the official statement. But I knew better. She was dead because of me. Oh, she killed herself because you rejected her? That's why you fuck everything with two legs. And get
Maeve
drunk
had a
every
hoot
night.
and I kicked the bucket, didn't she?
Remember me?
Ding dong, the witch is dead!
She had. Well, she didn't say which, Lorraine.
But at least Maeve had the courage to admit how she felt about me.
I don't even know how long I've been stuck in a trance. In the mirror, Lorraine smiles at me. She's as beautiful as I remember her. But then... I feel bias rise up in my throat as her clean image warps into how she looked when I found her dead, lying on the cold hard ground. Good Saint Dimphna, got it on, Oracle, in every affliction of my mind and body. Help me. I'm saying things, hearing things. Am I going completely insane? Looking everywhere but at her, I hope and I pray it's enough to will whatever this is to go away. It doesn't even immediately register in my head that I could just leave.
You, on the other hand, can't even look me in the eye.
This isn't real. You're not. You're dead!
I'm dead. Because of you. And you won't even look at me.
Look at her, look at her.
Look at me.
Look at her. My breathing quickens, and I can feel my heart being torn apart by her words.
I'm so sorry, Lorraine.
Look at me!
Look at her. Can't take it because she's right. It was my fault. The least I can do is look at her for what I've done. Lorraine, broken and bleeding, looks at me with such hate-filled eyes. Her unnatural smile stretches across her face, and I can only see malice in it. She lunges as the mirror ripples around her form, the glass parting like a water surface for her. She grips my shoulders, and I can feel her nails dig deep, sharp even through the fabric of my clothes.
There you are.
There I am. I don't know, I think I can fix her.
You're coming with me.
Oh fuck, I fucked it up. She's dead. Ah.
You love me!
I do, but you're dead and you want to cut my head off. I'll pour your spirit through my lips and tears cloud my vision. Well, I won't give in to this madness. With every bit of strength I have left, I struggle to get away from her. Fear grips and threatens to choke me. I endure. I escape. And without turning back, I'll stumble out. In my panic, I don't even care to look where I'm going. With one hand on the wall to steady me, I just hobble as fast as I can away from the story. Okay, so here's Chekhov's gun. She's gonna run down the stairs, and she's gonna trip on whatever that thing is that she said people shouldn't run over. Away from that mirror. Freedom is bittersweet. I'm free from the madness, it seems. I've thrown out into the hall where it reveals it to be in pristine condition. But it means I'm turning my back on Lorraine. Again. I have no plans of stopping, not until I know it's safe. And if that means walking back to Luxembourg, as ridiculous as the idea is, and so be it. Someone suddenly grabs hold of me, however. Fingers dig deep into my shoulder and my heart nearly stops. My body seizes. I nearly scream.
Marianne, you look awful. I mean, not awful, but... Did something happen? Are you alright?
Oh, I like the way she puts her finger to her lips.
Mrs. Wright,
Without thinking, I sought comfort, seeing it wasn't her. The sudden impulsive thing to do, and had I been in a better condition, I wouldn't even dare of doing such a thing. But I didn't know what else to do. Well, I know I shouldn't. Her warmth, her scent, that grounded me. She is intoxicating.
Marianne, what's going on?
Oh, you know what's going on.
Oh, you're shaking like a leaf.
Tremors run through my body as soon as my man realized I'm no longer in danger. I wanted to cry, scream about what I've seen, but like a scared child I couldn't control myself. My man couldn't reconcile what I've seen. I sort of just write it off as a figment of my imagination, but I can still feel her nails cutting into my skin.
Are you sick? Should I call for a doctor?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Wright. Just feeling a little woozy and lightheaded is all.
Let's get you somewhere to sit down then. Come on, don't worry, I have you.
A lie. But a whole lot less complicated than telling her I was attacked by a dead girl. When the feeling of fear eases off, I feel nothing but shame for my actions. I quickly back away as I clear my throat and nod my thanks.
I think I've had enough looking around. If it's all right with you and Mr. Wright, I'll meet you outside.
If you're sure, I'll have the car started. Do you need assistance heading downstairs?
I'm all right, ma'am. Just go on ahead and I'll be right there.
You're gonna fall to your death. That seems to placate her worries, though only for a brief second. Before she heads down, I don't miss the concerned gaze she shoots my way, hidden quickly under another smile. I won't begrudge her for it, that would I? The look on my face must have been a strange enough sight on its own. It meant I'm still reeling from whatever that was. Her voice still whispers in my ears. After all these years, she's still... No, Marianne. Shaking my head of the thoughts, dragging a breath, all shortly after my sight. Whatever's happened in the past, it's long gone. Only memories now. And those are things I can no longer bring back. It's already dark as we make our way out of the mansion. With no lights, we're only illuminated by the headlamps of the Wright's car and the stars above us. The sight of them helps me compose myself, much more than several minutes of being alone did. The car's engine is running, yet the two still stand out on the lawn. Mrs. Wright is busy, eyes up to the stars. And Mr. Wright, arms crossed, has his eyes on the ground. It's the crunch of grass under my heels that brings that attention to me.
About time. What took you so long?
Fuck you.
A minute longer and I'd think the house swallowed you all up.
Oh, hush, dear. I'm sure she has her reasons. Marianne doesn't seem the sort to idle.
Sorry, I was just checking on something important.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of dead people in your house, so maybe you should be careful about that.
See, business is business and they take time, love. You should know that better than anyone.
He's not a real businessman. He works off a fucking trust fund and probably loses all the money that he thinks he's fucking investing in business.
So, Marianne, what do you think? Are you the woman for the job? I know we already signed papers hiring you, but I want to be 100% sure that you are committed.
Fuck no, not after I found my dead fucking girlfriend in there. I'm not committed. Jesus fuck, lady. I glanced back towards the mansion. Knowing what I had seen there, or rather who I thought I saw there, because there's just no way. Not to mention how I acted towards Mr. Wright, for goodness sake. I should feel the slightest bit hesitant. I was lucky. I've seen enough films to know what happens when a promiscuous woman enters a haunted house. This is my chance to turn it down. Make excuses. Say I'm not up to the task. That I need to take care of my old sick father. Just pay the fine, which is probably outrageous for a contract like this, and let it go. I should turn it down. But for some obstinate reason I can't. The same minute I haven't let go of her, of the regret that shadowed me since that day. Much as I hate to admit it, even to myself, seeing her again, the mischievous glint in her eyes, the loose tendrils of her hair curled around her forehead. It's something I've terribly missed. Now that it's here, almost within arm's reach, my father would tell me, sometimes you just have to go through with it, consequences be damned. And well, I don't really have any logical reason to say no. My accent is slipping, pardon. At least not something a client like the Wrights will want to hear from a professional designer.
It's certainly an interesting project. You can be sure I'm seeing it through the end.
Such dedication! Oh, I do love the determination.
You were always determined like that, weren't you?
Hearing her voice again sends a chill running down me back. I can't wait for this day to be over. From the mansion and through Anselm, I rode with him in silence. But as soon as we hit a city proper, I asked to be dropped off and bid them good night. I thought it'd be best if I didn't stay too long in confined spaces, with either Mrs. or Mr. Wright. Both seemed to cause me serious trouble, and if the project had been any less interesting or grand, I would have dropped it without a second thought. I would have. Shouldn't have. Won't. I assured them that my place isn't far off, and I have to fight off the urge to roll my eyes and groan when whiskey throws me a little smirk. But even in my own home, peace is elusive. I was asleep. A lot awake, thinking of what I saw in the mansion. Or who I saw. Never so much as heard a single whisper from her. Never so much as see a whisper of her hair. I'm afraid I'll go mad. But none of that happens. And it makes me feel hollow. For 2 nights, I've had trouble sleeping. But it's only one morning, when the fatigue has already let me rest, that I'm reminded of what terrifies me so. In my restless dreams, I see that mirror. The one in the study. And then I see her. I'll see them. Lorraine and Hannah. Ooh. Hannah and Lorraine.
Poor pathetic Marianne. Work, work, work.
Darling, your eyes are pointing in the wrong directions.
She'll work herself to death.
So now you have 2 dead girls to worry about? What the fuck is wrong with you? How many women did you fucking sperm?
See? See, she doesn't listen. That's all she did. Look at what happened to me.
Talk about themselves with cruel smiles and venomous tongues. Or rather, 2 themselves. 2 heads, 1 body. I wrote about a mockery of these women, as if they were one and the same.
More's the pity. Life goes on and goes out, and she doesn't even see it.
Oh, I get it. The other one is the rich lady. Okay, never mind. I forgot names there for a second.
Do you think she'll even realize when she's kicked the bucket herself?
When they say a person has a hard time telling when they're in a dream, it was true often enough. Even with this bizarre sight, even with the obvious implication it isn't real, I can't help but feel distress.
Likely. Is that any way to live at all? She might as well be dead.
Cruel fate that she's alive and I'm... well...
All are speaking to each other's ear, tones low and hushed. I can still hear them as clear as day. Their whispers pervade the air, heavy and oppressive. They're burying and digging in my head like tiny maggots, worming their way into my skull. It's only then that I take notice of my presence. Eyes turn towards me, but I can only feel small under their scrutiny. Caricatures smiles etch on their faces, mimicking each other grotesquely.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie?
Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite. Unless you ask, that is.
That looks like a pretty good offer.
Have you been
Yeah, I
looking
gotta
at
tell you.
us? Spying?
Yes. And I want to keep doing that.
How scandalous. Such a naughty girl.
Oh, say that again. Say that again.
I'm sure you were just waiting for something lewd to happen, weren't you?
Wait a minute, if you're 1 body and 2 heads, how... What exactly are the mechanics of something lewd there?
You know she will not admit it. She thinks it wrong. You've said it so yourself.
Yes. She thought me wrong, impure, abnormal, because I loved her.
My breath hitches. I open my mouth to protest, but they stop me screeching. The mirror that holds him cracks, lines spiraling across its surface.
Do not lie. We know the gluttonous thoughts you try to deny, girl. All those desires you bury beneath that sickening guilt. You act the martyr when you turn the bed you lie in into your own hedonistic hell. You are nothing but a tainted soul with filth-stained flesh held together by falsehood and pride.
I think they're mad at you. They look livid. When it looks like they'd lunge. Awake. Feeling like the wind has been knocked out of me. With a groan, I squint and find a certain fluffball sitting on my chest, looking as pleased as Punch. She's the overlady of cats, queen of despair and the destruction of nice furniture. Though I can't say I'm mad at her. Figures. Damn. I was having a nightmare. I can't even remember what it was about. Monica, you didn't catch the spammer. I had to ban them all by myself. Planning a call leaves a terrible pit in my stomach. Maybe it's probably better that I don't remember.
Good morning, Baruthiel. Who's the good kitty?
Oh, sorry to hear that, Blue. It's okay, though. We're in this together anyway. You know what they say, too many cooks spoil the broth, right? Thanks for taking care of it. Remember, just Monica.
3.
Are you hungry? Is that why you woke me up?
A content purr comes from my sweet dear before she jumps off the bed and trots towards the kitchen. On the other hand, it takes me a bit more before I roll out of bed and start my day. Mornings before work is always a quiet affair. Shower first, then a mug of coffee, and a bowl of oats. Sometimes I do stretches, and I always check my work email. The lights will be moving into the mansion today. I don't think the paperwork's officially done yet, but it isn't too far-fetching to think they are allowed to start their move despite that. Rich people like them will always find a way to get what they want, after all.
I'll be leaving you again today, Beth. So you behave and make sure not to shred up my new covers, okay? And don't worry, I didn't forget tomorrow is Black Cat Day, so I'll throw you a party.
A kitty party? A pussy party? You should invite Hannah and your dead girlfriend to the pussy party.
But only if you behave like a proper lady.
And not a giant slut like you? Hey, look. That's that double standard, right? If you want to lay every dude in town,
Thank you,
that's your
Bearded
business.
_ Odin, for the lurk. We await
Bearded.
your return with NTC. Patient.
Good to see you, brother. I saw you playing earlier, but the game didn't catch my attention. But it's good to see you. Thank you for the lurk. We appreciate it. I was on the cusp of not even streaming today, but I need to be more businesslike about it. And you don't get to make fun of my accent. I'm doing the best I can. She barely gives me a glance as I say that before going back to her own food. Pots. Still better than humans most of the time. Too bad I have to work with humans. The place is already busy as soon as I get there. No foreman, one that I recommended to the rights for his work ethic, is early as usual. All that is instructing men here and there at the bigger loads. I have no chance to talk to him, as Miss Wright appears and greets me with a smile.
Mrs. Wright, I hope everything has been to your liking thus far.
Good morning, Marianne. It has been delightful, and these men have been very helpful. Look at all this. It's so busy here. I'm getting tired just looking at them go.
No complications so far with the movers or the previous owners of the mansion, I hope?
If anything, the only one being problematic is Luke, if I'm to be honest.
He's off fucking the chambermaid and I just can't get him to stop.
He can be such a diva, but I do like that about him.
She stops looking out at the upper landing when Mr. Wright comes through with two other movers in the mirror from the study.
Oh, do be careful with that mirror. We wouldn't want anyone getting hurt because of broken glass. Why are you even having it carried around?
Oh? You did say you didn't want the mirror, and I keep getting distracted by it.
What, you like looking at your own pecker?
If I'm going to turn the study into my office, I'd rather not have it there. Where can we put this?
Would you really like for me to tell you where to put it, dickhead?
Well, you are not putting it in our room. Why don't you go, I don't know, put it in the wine cellar for now? We can figure out if we'll store it in the attic or somewhere else later, yes?
Yes, go to the wine cellar and get eaten by the ghost. Because holy shit, this game would be awesome without you in it.
You heard her, boys. To the cellar it goes. Mush!
The movers bring down the mirror one step at a time. No matter how much the man tells them to hurry. An uncertain feeling grows in my stomach as I see our reflection in the bloody thing. And I look away, not wishing to risk anything. If I see Lorraine's image in the mirror now, I wouldn't know what to do. I don't have the luxury of privacy right now, and I'm not going to break down in front of all these people. Miss Wright only shakes her head and laughs at her husband's antics as they take the mirror out of here. I don't know how to end the sentence with an Irish accent. I'm not getting it. The end of the sentence always sounds awful. He's backing at it soon enough, pointing the men here and there. I'll say he's the man with the plan. but it sort of interferes with the layout and design that we've agreed upon before. I'm about to point it out, but
It's better you let him realize his mistakes on his own, rather than tell him of them. That way you do not get blamed for his actions.
thank you, Mr. Butler.
It is more fun, too, to tell him, how does they say it? I told
does
you
this
so,
say it?
once he slips up.
I see nothing.
Been working with him long enough to know that, huh?
It's not like I plan to make too much of a fuss, unless what he changes is actually crucial.
It happens often enough, when one is made to accompany him nearly all hours of the day.
I hope you get paid a lot for that, because you're kind of a bootlicker.
Up, higher. Come on now.
Still, you could at least be less pushy about things.
Careful now. I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African Blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings.
What an asshole.
Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
Okay, if I'm hanging the pictures and you say that shit to me, I drop it where I stand and I walk out the door with my middle finger up in the air behind me because fuck you. It's surprising how his hands... It is surprising how hands-on he is compared to my usual clientele. Well, the both of them are actually. It's refreshing to have them participate, despite their initial reluctance.
Luke, do the dishwashers go into the kitchen or the butler's pantry?
Pantry, Buttercup. Careful, that's Emma. No, you there, put that down. You do not manhandle a Napoleon Abueva.
Fuck you! It really needs to tone down the dramatics a notch. Mrs. Wright and the butler look like they're used to it by now. But the rest of us? Well,
Sweetie, why don't we go and sort your suits upstairs? Let your Hans and Marianne and the foreman deal with the rest of the work.
We have this, Mrs. Wright.
Yes, please do go before a blood vessel bursts. Bloodstains are so troublesome to clean.
there's an obvious sense of relief as Mr. Wright is dragged out of the room, leaving the movers to do their work in peace. Some grumbling even comes from some of the younger workers. The good thing the family butler isn't some blindly loyal tool to his boss. We're gonna be trouble with Mr. Wright.
He is such a bratwurst. Whiny baby who never got enough hugs from his mutter.
He's a sausage? Is that a legitimate German insult? You sausage!
Probably lost in translation, and not that I'm condoning talking about someone else behind their back, but I think you meant to call Mr. Wright a horrible brat.
Well, he is that too. There are a lot of things I can call him, but I mean to say that he is a big weenie.
Now I get the sausage comment.
A childish name for a childish person. Like a child, he whines when he doesn't get what he wants, and he breaks the toys that he has.
That gets a laugh from me, as well as a few of the movers who linger near. He and I carry boxes, instructing the movers where they should be, and generally taking over Mr. Wright's work. He goes off without a hitch. That man is helpful, efficient, and capable of physical labour despite his clean-cut appearance. A gentleman to boot, taking boxes from me whenever he sees me struggling with them. Speaking of boxes...
Hey, one of the boxes for the kitchen is missing. Has anyone seen it? The one with the pots and the knives.
Oh, the one with the knives.
The bratwurst had it brought upstairs, thinking it was for the attic.
Oh no. Oh no, Marianne, don't go to the attic.
Why would he... Oh, never mind. I'll go get it.
Marianne, don't go to the attic with knives. Why even bring a box of pots and knives to the attic? That man's ridiculous. There's probably no point in making sense of what he does if he just does them just because he can. At least it turns out that we don't have to make it all the way up to the attic. The mover, probably on Mr. Wright's orders, left the box on the stairs.
At least it's not that heavy.
Thank God. Oh no. Oh no. She's gonna fall down the stairs and land on the knives? Because Chekhov's gun is still sitting on those stairs. I managed to hoist it out without too much effort. But the time it takes me to do that is long enough for me to overhear an odd conversation I could never in my life imagine from from a couple like the Wrights.
Why, if you're not careful, I might go a bit loopy and I'll start bringing cats home. And soon enough, one day you'll find yourself going home to a farm just filled with felines that follow you everywhere.
Oh, don't bluff. The things would shred up your precious furniture. Besides, you don't even like cats.
True, true. Dogs are infinitely superior, of course.
But what about the wet dog smell? The mess? I'm not cleaning up after a mutt, no matter how cute.
A mutt. Good job, Mr. Asshole. You know, you can tell a lot about a person by the way he treats children and dogs.
If you think about it, a cat would be better.
For once, I have to agree with Whiskey on this one. I can live with Mrs. Wright being a dog person. But as amusing as this conversation might get, I really shouldn't be caught eavesdropping or slacking off on a job. At most, I should be looking at ways of possibly soundproofing certain rooms, perhaps bringing it up if I don't realise the lack of it. Oh yes, keep listening. I don't usually care for the private affairs of my clients, as I consider if I should lurk a bit longer, I miss what else was said. All I know is that the topic has somehow moved on from pets to children.
I wasn't being serious.
It's not something you take the piss out of. Having a kid is a big responsibility, Hannah. We've talked about this, haven't we? I'm not ready to be a parent. I'd probably end up killing the little brat by the week's end.
Regret sinks in fast. Why can't I just keep to myself and mind my own business like I usually do? Of all the times to be curious. Lorraine, bless her soul, once told me that there are 3 things I shouldn't do unless I want to be on the shit list of the local elites. First is don't mess with their livelihood. Whatever business they have that made them and keeps them rich is something they need to protect. Whether it's some multi-million company or some sort of state secret, I keep that close to their chest. Businessmen that challenge legal matters. I've slipped into Scottish. Businesses that challenge legal matters and moral issues aside, unless they're profited from criminal conduct, you're supposed to stay away and avoid being their competition. Second, don't mess with their affairs, especially the married sort. It's messy business, just to even gossip about it. And worse, to actually be the other woman. I'm towing the line with this rule as it is because of Whiskey. And the third thing.
Of all the times to be as sharp as a beach ball and as slow as a sloth, Marianne.
Well, the third thing is true for just about anyone, really. Don't mess with their family. Of course, she used the word mess quite loosely. And I think what I'm doing now falls under the multiple definitions it could take. Listen to this. Something so undoubtedly private. It's a great way to get in trouble.
But I do think you...
Don't finish that sentence, Hannah. We know how this discussion ends. Let's not fight over what ifs and if onlys.
But what if we are going to have a family, Luke? What then?
I just told you. No what ifs.
We won't talk about it until you're ready.
Let's not talk about it then. Ever.
I'll walk away, as far and as fast as I can while still carrying the box, until I'm a good distance off in the foyer. I unrisk my neck, taking the steps down 2 at a time before quickly handing off the kitchenwares to Johans.
You really shouldn't run down those stairs. You might slip and break your neck. And that isn't a pretty way to go.
Maybe, but I bet it'd be quick.
I'll keep that in mind, thanks. Wouldn't want anything to happen to my pretty neck.
Now are you going after the butler?
Why do you think I wear a scarf?
Because they're comfortable? Other than that, there are still serious choking hazards. You might be wearing your own noose.
Well, aren't you a cheerful fellow?
Cut the morbid stuff and let's get these things where they belong.
My kitchen, my rules. If you have somewhere else to go, which I'm sure you have, you may leave the area to me.
Well, I still have to check a few things there, if you don't mind.
How many times do you need to check every room?
7 or 8, maybe?
Are you sure you're not just looking for the secret recipe of my Kirby soup? Because I'll have you know, It is all in my head.
What?
I like to be thorough with my work. I'm sure you understand.
He shrugs as we enter our kitchen. The box is quickly placed on one of the countertops and he sits at work quietly. Occasionally he asks me to take one thing or another and place it someplace else, but for the most part, I'm left thinking about what I just heard. That talk of children and Miss Wright's insistence on getting in that room. Could it be? No, she doesn't look it, but of course it could just be too early to show. And if she is, does Whiskey know? It really didn't sound like it. What do I care though? Aside from the fact that I may be working with a pregnant woman who will have a baby in the near future, this place isn't exactly up to modern safety standards. The slightest possibility this might be the case only makes me worry. I'll have to do a better job than what I usually do. The movers work efficiently even when they're left alone, and they do quick work of their responsibilities. The head foreman comes, standing in the doorway to consult me on this or that, and I have to go out and help every now and then. Well, they pretty much have everything up to standards. They skip lunch entirely, not even realizing when they do. Nevertheless, all is well and the butler gets to heating up the leftover bubble and squeak from breakfast, makes a generous batch of fish and chips for him. Mostly likely simple in comparison to what he serves the Wrights, but well done nonetheless.
That smells good. Want to wrap up some for me to go?
It's an idle observation more than anything. My thoughts as they are preoccupy me.
If there are any left. One can't go wrong with fish and chips. Everyone loves them. Even my husband. And he's American.
I really do hate getting up so close and personal with my clients. It's a distraction. It's obvious to me that I've gotten my priorities all wrong when I can't help but think about what I heard, what I learned from the Wright couple. These things have a way of creeping up on a person. Thoughts and ideas, whether they're fact or fiction. They creep up and fester. They crawl and writhe in a way that twists. They are giggling, delighted and mocking. They creep up and the sensation of fingers ghosted briefly on my arm causes me to freeze and hiss.
Don't!
I don't expect her to be there.
Whoa, no need to scream bloody murder. It's just me. Quiet down before you break glass.
Well, it's just whiskey.
Don't do that again. Ever.
I don't like being scared. Though I don't believe in the likes of spooks, being startled is not on the top of my list of things Marianne liked. You don't believe in spooks? You just got almost pulled into a mirror by one, like a little while ago. Lucky for him, I had nothing but an Orisha he'd have gotten on friendly terms with something like a rolling pin.
What was with that reaction? Were you really scared? Has Johan's been telling you ghost stories? He just loves to scare people.
Oh, what a dick.
Isn't that right, Brother Gurium?
The butler's expression is unreadable. I had to see an emotion on his face to begin with, since I started working for the Wrights, aside from vague amusement. But it must have been something there, though, judging from Mr. Wright's own content look. The expression on Mr. Wright's face is almost cruel. But neither of them smoke, even as Johan leaves the room to serve the workers their late lunch.
So, now that we're alone, Marianne, what are you so jumpy for?
Leave, just leave. Leave the room.
I was just thinking about all the urban legends the movers have been telling me about this place.
Don't tell me you believe in that tosh. They're nothing but tales made up to scare children. Timmy, Billy, don't you dare go up to that big mansion and get in trouble there. The ghosts are going to get you.
That's a boring way to look at it, but that's usually what it is anyway, no? Like I said, I was just thinking.
It would be a relief, actually, if those rumors of this place haunted is true. That just means I'm not going bonkers. Hearing, let alone seeing, a dead person isn't exactly the symptoms of a healthy mind. Sure, it means there would be such things as ghouls and goblins, but at least I'd be sane. On the other hand, there would actually be a dead girl walking around.
If you could excuse the inane question, Mr. Wright, you haven't noticed anything weird here?
Like he is gonna give you a straight answer even if he did. A simple enough question on the surface, yet I know someone's stiffness the question leaves my mouth. I wouldn't have noticed it if I wasn't watching his reaction intently. But in his eyes I see something dangerous.
That depends on your definition of the word weird. Are we still on the topic of this place being haunted? Because no, things have not started to fly around and we have yet to require an exorcism. I don't think my head would like to do the whole 180-degree turn thing.
Well, maybe that, but no strange people?
Aside from my usually weird butler and all the weird men traipsing around touching my things? No, not really. Why do you ask? Have you noticed anyone strange while you were here? Because you must report it to Johans and he'll have security handle it. But these reports better not be about ghosts and things that go bump in the night. I don't want to waste manpower on the boogeyman or senseless witch hunts.
I'll keep that in mind, Mr. Wright. But no, it's nothing like that. I guess the mansion is just strange for me. It's a unique project.
No strange men or women lurking about then?
The teenager would technically qualify as strange. But yeah, the whole I see dead people thing isn't going to go over well.
None that I know of. But I'll inform Johans immediately if something comes up.
I'm serious, Mint. You see anything, anyone suspicious, and you report it. Immediately.
I think that goes without saying.
That's an awkward sentence. The concern I have on the talk of security is quickly gone. His arrogant smug smirk returns, if a bit subdued. I have a smiling remark right in the end though he has that ain't ready. Never comes through, as voices from the dining hall ring out.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job. It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least not all the time.
That would be the magazine photographer, I presume. As always, Mr. Wright talks in such a kind and cheery fashion no matter who she's talking with. It certainly puts people at ease around her. It sounds like it's working on the photographer too. Heron, though, seems to put Mr. Wright in a sour mood. At least, if his small scowl is anything to go by. Is he jealous? Try to lighten the mood.
You're not gonna go out there and join Mrs. Wright? You're starting to look strained. If you want your picture taken so badly, I'm sure the photographer would oblige.
What is it that you want to do then?
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
We need to get you away from the butler. You're starting to sound like him. No, I'm not joining Hana for an interior design magazine photo. What am I, a piece of furniture?
Well, you're certainly a wooden asshole.
Look, did a lot of you have anything else crucial to do today? Marianne.
There are still some little things to do. It isn't the end of the day yet.
Yes, but you're paid hourly, aren't you? Per day? Really, I don't care. You and the others can just take off for the day.
Why is it dismissing us early all of a sudden? This is about the possible security threat. Did my questioning get him all worried and paranoid that they just send the workers in our way? I realise the threats are an actual concern to the rich and powerful people. I imagine whether anyone wants to or not, they get a few enemies here and there. But I'm sure the foreman and his workers can be trusted and no threat. At least I trust the people I'm working with. I understand if he doesn't. He doesn't know him from a can of paint. Still, won't it be safer if there are people around who can watch their back?
You're the boss. My being paid by the day aside, I won't be held responsible for any significant delay caused by your decisions. I'll try to get around that, of course, but I'll just remind you of the fact.
Whatever, take forever with the house. I don't give a bloody damn. Don't you worry, you're still getting your money. Just sod off, go crawl around a pub and find yourself a good lay.
Oh, rip his balls off. Paranoid or aggravated as he might be, This conversation certainly didn't want that sort of remark.
Maybe I will.
Walking out of the kitchen, I just accept the fact that whatever he says will go while under his roof. Just letting the photographer is still far too busy in conversation to notice me, even as I make my way through the dining hall. Besides, I didn't want to ruin their fun.
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Going to the 40 has me stumble upon the family butler once more, who races about at my presence.
And where are you off to in a hurry, Miss McCulloch? The foreman is looking for you.
The Bratwurst wants us off the clock. He's dismissing us early because of... Oh, I don't know. He just wants us out of here.
I'll go and call a cab for you then. It would be for the best that you leave when he asks you to.
I don't doubt it. I read back to the city doesn't take too long to get there. Granted, there were some difficulties at first because the driver didn't know where the Ermagerd mansion is. He thought to have us hand over GPS coordinates from our smartphones or some other technobabble I didn't care about. Well, the butler didn't understand. Well, as soon as we told him it's the haunted mansion over in Anson Village, he knew just the place. And finally headed over, albeit with some hesitation. God damn, my accent is getting awful. Must be getting tired. All the way back to the city, the driver keeps complaining about that place, giving him the willies. That gives me the willies too. I would have loved to snap at him. But as soon as the thought occurs to me, another blossoms in the floor in front of my mind. Well, it somehow bothered me greatly. More than my exasperation over whiskey and this project, or wanting all of it to stop. There's been no Lorraine whispering over my ears today. Worse, I found myself searching for it. Searching for her. Damn no rat. Loose ends, fucking bloody loose ends everywhere. I thought I already moved past this years ago. There was nothing to help me curb my frustration. If anything, it only ensures that I want a stiff drink. And what else do I go for a drink? Ugh. Tuesdays are for karaoke, and Wednesdays, improv. Usually it's these four guys who did hilarious games. Well, the one with Irish drinking songs is a crowd favourite. Though I love a good laugh, stand-up comedy isn't my thing. Without Kama, Haruna or any other distractions, I end up liking a lot more this time. I went to several bottles of beer in me. I got really embarrassing.
Hey! G! Psst! G! Come over here! I need you for something!
It's a good thing that the bartender is a nice fella. I'd probably have been kicked out of other places by now, or worse. If push comes to shove, all he'd do is give me an easy smile and a shake on his head, even when he's attending to other customers. Just like now.
Give me a moment, will ya? I gotta go check on her.
He's some Asian guy. And I'm pretty sure I've seen him before a couple of times. Oh, he never talks to anyone else except Jay. The girls used to be all over him too, but he always turned them away.
I'll be here. You go do that before she falls over.
Mr. Detective Asshole Fashionable Dude, huh?
All right. What is it? Do you need someone to help you get home?
Bartender, pour the wine!
I think that's enough alcohol for you, little missy. I'm cutting you off.
A wine comes back at my throat as he pulls my bottle away. Pull a bottle away from an Irish woman, that's just goddamn not a death sentence. I have no hope of getting them back once they're behind the counter. Even in my drunken mind, I don't dare to hop it over for them. Because what little sense I have knows I'd soon take a floor dive and succeed in wresting a bottle from a sober man. Well, that doesn't stop me from trying to reach out my arms like a stupid idiot anyway. He smiles and shakes his head, just like I know he would before going back to the other guy.
Right now, where were we? How you holding up, boy?
With no drink, and no one to really chat with, I would have gone home. I'm going to sleep on the bar right there and then. but I'm not ready to stand up and try to trek back home yet.
Same old, same old. I'm still on the Luxborn firm case.
Those blokes they talk about being in dark suits, whisking people into the night or some shit and all that. Didn't the media call it some ridiculous name in the morning news?
What is it this time? Wait, don't answer that. They've called it a lot of things. As long as people don't start running around claiming they're the Illuminati. So, what have you got for me this time, G? Anything good?
Slow down there. You haven't even told me what sort of deal in Dosh we got. Who are you looking into this time?
The talk would have interested me. It would have kept my attention if I gave a damn. But in my current state, I can barely give two fucks about the things going on around me. All these words are just buzzing, barely surfacing from the sea of sounds that is the pub. And it would have stayed that way, perhaps even drowned if I didn't hear his name.
Luke Wright. You know the guy. And don't pretend like you don't, G. It takes a special kind of ignorant not to know who he is.
Oh god, I hate cops in video games.
That smug blonde who likes throwing round his money. He was just here a few days ago, as a matter of fact. Great tipper, if you think him just dumping a wad of cash on the counter after having too much whiskey counts as tipping. Why are you asking? He dirty?
You have no idea, G. He's probably the worst sort you can imagine.
Really? Luke fucking Wright. Fucking whiskey. Even without him around, I'm still hearing about the guy. What the absolute fuck. Despite this, I'll find myself getting up and sauntering over to join him before I pipe up.
Is this smack talk about Luke fucking Wright I'm hearing, eh?
Private conversation here, lady.
That's only the amusement on G's face. The Asian guy, he starts to look ticked off as hell.
Don't worry, Holmes, she's clean. And she might be able to help you with your, predicament.
Course. A drunk's just stumbled through here with what I need. Get real, G. No offense, lady, but you're smashed.
Who gives a shit? If she's got something to tell you, listen. Oh my fucking god.
I know, right? Nothing beats being drunk after a hard day's work. Especially when you're working for Mr. Luke Wright.
So, she works for the guy? Doesn't that make her, I don't know, suspect?
See, have a little faith in me, why don't ya? I don't have much, and you might as well have something to go off. You're the one who was so desperate to come running to me for business.
Yoo-hoo! Still right here, fellas. 5'11", can't miss me. Unlike Shorty over here. What's with that mad look? You want to dance, boy? You don't look like you can bust a groove. Maybe a leg, but with that fancy coat of yours.
Add insult to injury. I moved directly behind him and used the top of his head as an armrest. But when he shakes me off, I plop into the seat right next to him.
Don't try me. You can hardly stay on your feet. We don't want to ruin your fancy coat, do we?
Ah, children, the both of ya.
Yeah. 100% of the bartender's team.
But you're still standing after all that, are ya? Matt, you see this giantess? She's a legendary regular here. Been drinking like there's no tomorrow. I'm a bit jealous. Can't do that anymore or my liver will give out on me. Good with the mic, too. Don't see you much recently, but I guess you're always busy, aren't you? You're some fancy designer or something, if I remember correctly.
Wait, I know you. You were at the open house for the mansion.
Yeah, that's right. Marianne McCulloch. I'm a famous interior designer extraordinaire. Ooh, that rhymes.
Wow, you are fucking blitzed.
Anyway, you guys were talking about that weenie Luke Wright, right?
Or something. Can't really talk about it. I don't even know if I can trust you, even if G said you're clean. But anything would be of help.
Well, I don't gossip about my clients, if that's all there is to this.
You wanted to gossip about him a few minutes ago, Marianne.
And that was the beer talking, not Marianne.
You won't mind if we ask the beer a few questions then?
Maybe. Depends on who's asking and what they're asking. But seriously,
yeah, she's in
that
heat.
guy is absolutely Abso-fucking-lutely frustrating. One moment, he's an absolute dickhead. And then he's acting like an actual decent human being the next. I just can't figure him out. I can't imagine how that pretty wife of his can put up with him. If I were her, I'd dump his flat arse straight up.
And I'm not just saying that because I think Hannah's pretty or anything. Luca's a catch too. They both are. But I really cannot, for the love of all things holy, see how they even work out together.
So,
Fuck, I can't
Luke
say
Wright, have you noticed anything strange about him while you were working with him?
Other than the fact he's a dickhead?
Anything peculiar of note?
Everything's peculiar about
You're
that
the
dickhead.
one being peachy right about now, Holmes. But nah, nothing that comes to mind off the top of my head. He's just like most rich, smarmy arseholes and then some.
My giggle bubbles up, and I press my cheek against the cool countertop with my eyes shut, just because. I immediately cracking one eye open, just in case they thought I fell asleep. I got in at Holmes.
So, Holmes, I'm guessing you're some private detective or something. Is it Hannah? Did she pay you to look if he's been cheating or some such?
Hannah's the wife, right? What about her? How is she?
How is she or how is she? Well and good. Definitely the nicer of the two and sexy as sin to boot. Not a private detective then. Are you from one of them tabloids wanting to know if the Luke Wright doesn't know how to put his pants on right? Pants. I'd take the pants off of...
Oh, here we go. Slipping. I haven't been this drunk in a long time. God damn it, why can't I haven't been this drunk in a long time. It's a miracle I've been coherent for as long as I have been right now.
I'm asking you if you've noticed any odd behavior from her.
Odd behave... You what? I wonder how she'd be drunk. I can just imagine her like the giggly sort. What do you think?
These are serious questions, Marianne. Lives might just be at stake here.
What do you expect? She's smashed.
Why am I even doing this? This is getting me nowhere, G. She's not a reliable source. The chief, let alone the courts, aren't going to take the word of a drunk.
Oh. Even if they're not reliable, they can give you a lead. It doesn't matter how you get the lead as long as you're legal when you get there. Jesus, fuck. It's not like she's gonna be testifying.
This'll be dismissed, and I might be in trouble if they try to argue that I coerced a testimony out of her. This is a fucking train wreck.
Testimony.
You're a fucking train wreck now, if you ask me. Maybe it's about time you apply the brakes and stop for a bit.
The wave of despair that comes over the both of them is palpable. If feelings had a taste, it'd be better than the beer I'm full of. It'd be bitterer than the beer I'm full of. And that gets me thinking. Though thinking doesn't get me too far with drunk shite in my system.
You know that's not an option. Thanks for being patient, McCullough. Good luck with your work on that mansion.
Speaking of that mansion, there's something going on in that place. Something. As och day! No wonder Mr. Wright likes it so much. It's as fishy as he is. Rotten bloke. Maybe that Santos girl is really onto something, eh? Suspicious shite, I'm telling ya. Explains why she's so reluctant.
What do you mean that Santos girl is onto something?
Before I get another word out, there's hands on my shoulders, and everything starts to spin. I quickly slap his hands away the best I can, and send him the foulest low-cocking muster.
Take your hands off me, pipsqueak. I'm not a lady who's shaken or stirred unless you want me up-chucking on your pretty hair. But it's just like I said. Are you sure you aren't brain damaged or deaf? Santos girl from VRC showed us this creepy letter. You know, just like those spam stuff you get in your emails. And we thought it was some joke or that the girl was just a bit too green to handle a big sale like that. You should have seen the look on their faces when they saw it. Whiskey, that's Luke fucking Wright, you get me, and the missus didn't look too happy either. I should have taken a picture and posted it everywhere. When rich snobs give you that face, no wonder the Santos girl went all mental on us. Working with them does that, you know? I think I'm about to. I'm not mental yet, am I? Anyway, just like I said, in that man... Hey, you okay? Holmes? You're looking a bit shaky yourself there.
Andy really is pale. Paler than before, at least. I can see the gears turning in his head on overtime. Suddenly he shoves a card in my hand. On it, his name, Alstrom Fry, and his number. But he has second thoughts as he grabs it from me and slips it into my pocket.
You're cute, pretty boy. But I prefer blondies.
Well, you're not exactly my type either, lady. But listen to me. If something comes up, don't do anything rash. If you think you're in danger or if you see anything suspicious, call me and the authorities as soon as possible.
What?
You understand me? That's 99...
I know what the damn emergency number is.
Right, 999. Good. Anyway, I have to run. See you, G.
That's gonna come up soon. Or at least at some point. There's gonna be some point in this game where I have to dial emergency and I have to hit 999 instead of 911. The guy is quick on his feet, already up and at him as soon as the numbers leave his lips. Watching him as he maneuvers through the crowd of the pub goers is enough to tire me out. Fast as he can, he's at the door and throws us a smile. And that's all we get before he's gone, just like that.
Oi, what about your drink, boy? I'll go put it on your tab then.
Holmes boy always like that, G?
Pretty much. But what about you? I suppose I'll put your drinks on your tab too. Don't want you to spill your wallets when you look like you're close to spilling yourself.
Yeah, and if it's fine by you, I think I'll go take a bit of a cat nap here. Just for a sec or two.
Go right ahead. I'll wake you when I close up shop.
In alcohol is truth and drunken ramblings, swimming in cocktails. Mumbling a sleepy thanks, I doze off on the spot, face pressed on the counter. Already I dread the pain I'll have for sleeping in such a position. When you got to go, you got to go. Hello, ladies. They're so pretty.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie?
Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite.
Unless you ask us to.
Unless you ask, that is.
Not a lot can get much sleep to begin with. Oh my god, are we never gonna skip to another person? I'm tired of this POV. I'm tired of this fucking accent. Do people ever have the feeling that they're working on something they really enjoy, but still it eventually tires them out? Because honestly, I've been feeling like this.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Though moments like these make all the hard work worth it. Definitely.
Well, I can't take all the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the right mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
We're only about halfway done, but the honest satisfaction on the client's face is enough for me to push through. Let's face it, between my exasperation at Mr. Wright's antics and her, I've been burning a candle at both ends. I can't even close my eyes without seeing a dead girl's face. Dead girl. Dead. She's dead. I have to keep reminding myself that. Burying my feelings as deep as they buried her body, 6 feet under. I shouldn't waste so much time on someone who's supposed to be gone. I've wasted so many years thinking about her already. There should be no need to bother myself with the dead. I should be bothering myself with the living. Too bad the living are usually as complicated, if not more, than ghosts of the past.
But don't you have a party?
Oh, my fucking head.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see.
Excuse me.
That friend he's visiting, he's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
No, he's not. He's fucking the shit out of the guy's wife is what he's doing. It's even more complicated when the living in question is a pair of rich and famous socialites past their honeymoon phase. And I've been somehow roped into being a relationship counsellor.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark.
Or maybe she's fucking around on him.
What do you think?
I think she's fucking around on him.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle.
Well, we already saw this from her point of view.
But if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives.
Why she thinks a single woman like me would be the best source of relationship advice is beyond me. Still, talk and answer to the best of my abilities. Without realizing it, already pouring out a part of me that I'd thought were long gone. I'd like to believe my words are of some help to Ms. Wright. If I'm honest though, that is some help to me, like some of the weight may have been taken off of my shoulders. Lorraine.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
No, I don't want to attend the party. The weight of what happened there hasn't left me yet, did it? Maybe.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies.
If you're gonna have a drink at the party, there's gonna be a scene. Holy shit. Who are you gonna hit on whenever that fucking drunk happens?
Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you.
Are they?
You need to say hello to the Lees at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
Maybe it's about time I change that.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Please, Mum, may I be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
Though I shouldn't dwell on the dead, I shouldn't just carelessly forget about them too. Saying that I have work left to do is an easy enough excuse to make. Know how other people see me. This is someone so obsessed with her craft that she would be so easily missing things like a party for it. Outside the parlour, people hurry about here and there in preparation for the Wrights' grand housewarming party. None spare me a glance as I slip past them, each working on their appointed roles and not daring to slack off what they work for is probably the most powerful couple in Luxburn. I'm out into the kitchen with ease, the wine cellar being my final destination. But when is a great task ever simple? Probably never. And this is a great task, isn't it? I'll get it this one yet, it's worthy of being called a quest. And I'm not acting as Marianne McCullough, the professional interior designer, when I choose to lie about being too fussy for a party. I'm Marianne McCullough, a lawful neutral cleric with 9 points in wisdom and 8 in charisma. Just thinking of it like that makes it a bit cheesy. But it helps with the fear. It helps overcome the insane thought that I'm actively seeking out something that has been plaguing me for years. I might face my worst nightmare, or I might see nothing and find myself in man's grand quest fall flat. And who would have thought that a gatekeeper to my final quest would be something I thought would be a valuable ally?
Schnell! Hurry up, you snails! We are on a deadline and you are wasting my time.
The butler comes from the cellar into the kitchen, trailed by a couple of others. People who I assume are most likely chefs and bartenders. He raises a brow, seeing me just standing there by the arch of the trapdoor. Almost looks like he's going to throw me out of the kitchen without permission. Well, then he motions for the others to disperse and familiarise himself with the surroundings. Meanwhile, he continues to stand there, preventing entry into the darkness beyond.
What are you doing here, Fraulein? This is not the place for guests or in an architect right now. I request you leave.
I was just looking around for any last-minute things, yes?
Yes, you have been doing that a lot. Looking around, snooping about. Now is not the time for such things. If you're not careful, people might think you are up to something.
The look he gives me as he says this is almost chilling. If life was a game book, he'd probably be the true neutral warlock guarding the treasure room. A difficult opponent to beat on 9 points in wisdom and 8 in dexterity.
Well, I'm not done yet. I actually need to go into the wine cellar. Just need a quick go at the place. So just don't mind me. I'll be out of your hair soon enough.
Go outside, enjoy the party. Bask in the praise and adulation they will no doubt shower you with when the madam speaks highly of you. Surely you've had enough of this stuffy old kitchen by now. You do not want to cause trouble. Both the Bratwurst and Hannah want this to be perfect. It would be a disservice and disrespect to toe out of line and risk it being anything otherwise. And more importantly, I will be blamed for any failure that happens tonight.
His intervention almost turns me away. Maybe this is a sign I'm not meant to seek Lorraine out. But...
Please, it's really important.
15 minutes. 9, 10 minutes. Any longer and I'll pull you out of there myself.
Oh, will you, Mr. Hardbody?
The Bratwurst will be furious if he thinks anyone is touching his precious wine without his permission.
Thank you. This seriously means a lot.
This is a bad idea. I just want to be on record as saying that this is a bad idea. It's one of those ideas that's not good. It's kind of the opposite of good. It's a bad idea. He steps aside begrudgingly. At this point, it looks like there's no turning back. The cellar greets me ominously as I descend. The space feels smaller, with a lot more bottles lining the wall compared to before, and knowing what might be waiting for me here makes things worse. The mirror that had been moved from the study is my goal. I did not return to it after my initial discovery, but the thought of Lorraine, how much I want to see her again, even if it's just one more time, keeps coming back to mind. As I walk to the cellar, I have to stop when I feel something crunch beneath my feet. But if a few bottles were left here, and now nothing but glass under my heels. Perhaps dropped by one of the many chefs and bartenders the butler had escorted through here before. And they made a downright mess, with red slick pooling from the remnants of a good drink. With how dark this place is, a person with a dark enough imagination could easily mistake it for blood. I can't help but think it is. Despite an easy, logical explanation that has to come to my mind, only because what I'm about to do. It's merely a momentary distraction as I continue to the end of the cellar where the mirror stands. Propped up on the far wall, it gleams innocently while pretending to be a simple and ordinary mirror. I'm morbid to think this thing can show a person their deepest, most desperate desires, and then twist into an image so dark. That's what I'd seen that day. Though I had Lorraine many times, I'd only seen her. I'd only seen her many times in this frame. I wonder if people have discovered it before. How many were away, stayed away in front of it, enamored, and how many were frightened away by what they saw? Yet as I stand before it now, nothing. I can barely see my own reflection in its darkness.
How does this even work? Mirror, mirror on the wall? Something? Anything?
Nothing. Touching its surface doesn't make it magically activate or anything like that. There's no sudden surge of power, and I'm not suddenly a granted sight. It stays what it is, a mirror. Was Lorraine's appearance in the mirror all some sort of fever dream? Am I really that burdened with guilt and despair that my mind would eat itself in my stress and have me hallucinate such things? Either way, just going here on some crazy obsession for a girl long gone must want a trip to a doctor. Already I feel ill. After a few more minutes, in the hopes that something would change, I'd turn around and leave. I can just go back upstairs like nothing ever happened. Perhaps drop by the party for some hors d'oeuvres and then go home and collect myself. Besides, this is what it's expecting me and I'm...
Going to leave me again then, are you?
Well, I came down here for you and you didn't show up. What am I supposed to do? Like, if you don't come when I look for you, then I can't see you. I stop in my tracks, but I don't turn back. As much as it pains me, I don't look back. If I'm just hearing it again, desperately delusional, and I look back to see nothing, I don't want to give myself false hope. When I feel fingers around my wrist pull at me, I look back in shock. My first thought is, how in God's name is this possible? And the second is, Lorraine. Her hands are cold.
Are you that mad at me that you're just going to ignore me, Marianne?
I'm not mad at you, darling. Nobody's mad at you. We're guilty and we want to make things up to you, and we can't do it because you're dead. I don't know what to say, and I can only stare at her and wonder. She stands there in the mirror with only her arms in the outward for my sake. I look at the hand still holding my wrist, and when she sees me looking at it, she moves it so that our hands are intertwined, fingers cleaved together. Seeing her there and feeling her touch means I'm not crazy, though however impossible and unexplainable this all is to me right now. It just takes my breath away. Pulling her out from there is tempting. I can imagine doing so with ease. We could be together again, Lorraine and Marianne, though nothing had ever happened. Well, that would all be a great big lie, wouldn't it?
What? Cat got your tongue?
Would you like me to show you where my tongue is?
Don't just look at me like that. Say something.
Something. Even if this were some magical portal that could bring back the dead, that doesn't erase anything. Just looking at her, still a teenager while I'm already a grown woman, it serves no other reason than to break the illusion that binds me. I've seen her twice now, always behind a mirror. If this is real, if this is some delusion, why can she only exist behind a glass?
Yeah. You have no idea how happy I am to see you. It's been so long.
You don't look happy.
I really am happy. But at the same time, I can't help but think about what happened to you.
And what does that mean? What are you saying?
She gives me this peculiar look, and before my eyes, she moves to step out of the mirror. In turn, I wrench my hand from her and take a step back, almost as if I'm afraid.
I don't know how this is possible, but whatever this is, it isn't real. You can't be real.
I'm right here, aren't I? What other proof do you need?
No. I see you. I hear you. I feel you. But even with all that, you can't be real. You just can't. I saw your body. I helped bury you. You're dead.
A deep hurt crosses her face. That just breaks my heart in two, seeing her wear that expression.
Burying me wasn't the only thing you did. Don't you dare lie. But I'm going to be the bigger woman, aren't I? Let bygones be bygones. I'll forgive you, as long as you stay with me, Marianne. That's why you came down here, right? To find me?
That was the plan. I came down here looking for closure. This isn't closure. This is something else entirely. I didn't think I'd be forced to make such a choice. I want to stay. I really do want to stay. With her. I'm getting tired of pretending, of lying to myself. And the fact that I'm admitting this to myself now of all times Only brings to light how right Lorraine was about me all along. Should have listened to her.
But, Lorraine, you're dead. How can we even stay together?
I know. And it's your fault, isn't it? You tore us apart.
Okay, now, a ghost who's looking to reconcile isn't going to say that part. A ghost who's looking to punish you is going to say that. She's about to rip your fucking head off.
But now, you can put us back together again.
She's about to turn into blood and slivers of flesh, and she is going to incinerate you with her gaze. And now that I had the choice to fix what I had done to us, then who am I to do otherwise?
I'm so sorry. I must look like a right mess.
I'm here, Em. I'm here now, don't you worry. Come here.
It takes everything I have not to tear up at the sight of her. She reaches out and slips her fingers through mine before pulling me away from the tunnel and towards the mirror. Our reflection, a grown woman and a teenager barely past her prime, lends a bizarre light to this whole scene. Teenagers are not past their primes. Jesus fucking Christ. Who wrote that?
I can't imagine how you've been so alone all these years. I left you, Lorraine. I didn't mean to, but that's what I did. I don't even know if you can ever forgive me.
She's smiling at that.
Don't cry. Doesn't suit your pretty face. Besides, I don't have to be alone anymore, do I? You're here for me, aren't you? You'll never leave me again, will you?
That's what they say before they chain you to something and cut off your body parts. My mouth goes dry as she looks at me. That isn't the plan. This isn't closure. Yet her hand in mine makes me believe that this is real. She's real, and that's all that matters. Nothing else.
Yes, of course. I wouldn't dare leave you.
You swear you won't leave me?
I swear to God, I won't, Lorraine.
Though her smile remains, I can only describe her expression as sad. She walks around until she stands just behind me, and wraps her arms around my waist. I nearly crumble with how I am in her arms once more. And when she puts her chin in the crook of my neck, and I feel her hot breath on my neck, I'm filled with both joy and grief. A scent of chocolate, almonds, honey, beer surrounded me. My first taste of love. The love that I denied. It had been so bittersweet.
God's not the only one you're making promises to, Marianne. Swear it to me. Or, even better, prove it to me.
Go into the mirror. Die. Give up.
I'll stay forever with you, Lorraine. I swear it to you. How do I even prove it to you?
Simple.
Walk through the mirror. She presses something in my hand. A large glass shard from my wine bottle, cooled and sharp.
You join me.
Oh, that's not even... Okay. Stepping through the mirror into the supernatural with you, that's one thing. Cutting my fucking wrist and dying because a dead girl said it would be a good idea, that's not kosher, lady. Is she suggesting that I...
Die for me.
Oh, this is bad.
Lorraine! That's... How can I?
How could I even do such a thing?
There's no need to be scared. I'll be here for you until the end, Marianne. Even if you hadn't done the same for me.
So, you guys are Catholic, right? Which means that if you commit suicide, you're not going to go with her. You're going to go to the fiery depths of hell.
But that's the only way I can forgive you. The only way we can be together again.
Oh, it would have been so much easier to just step through the mirror. She guides my hand, raising the glass shard. My own hands are weak, as is my will, and I can only bare my neck to do it as she wishes. There is no reason, no self-preservation, as I mindlessly welcome my own death, as if it would lead to my salvation. I feel nothing at first, other than the glass touching my skin like a caress, till a stinging sensation blooms from my neck. The pain sears and burns like nothing I've felt before, and every breath intensifies the feeling. Even if I wanted to cry out and scream, I can only cough as a slick metallic taste coats my tongue. The most I can do beyond that is rasp out, calling for her name.
Lorraine.
Cold and weak, I grow worse by the second. I cough with each ragged breath, expelling the blood that I'm inhaling through my slit throat.
Shush now. It'll be over soon.
That's a pretty good fucking dynamic right there. I like that image.
Really soon.
There's a moment of doubt as I remember that Devils was once the most beautiful angel in heaven. That I shouldn't be deceived by such beauty. One of my final moments, all of that is soon forgotten. My mouth twitches. I can't muster even the smallest of smiles anymore. But I'll be with Lorraine. You've unlocked a memory fragment. Rebecca! This is how it begins, or so they say. With a gentle wind drifting through wide open windows, muffled laughter and footsteps fading behind empty hallways, and the light kiss of the afternoon sun. Soon there will be a call, a crossing of thresholds into the unknown. Maybe we are off to some grand adventure, or diving into another gripping mystery. One can't really tell. For all I know, a hero might even come sweep me off my feet if I'm lucky.
That's not exactly a bad thing when you think about it.
But this is far from one, isn't it? A riveting tale, that is. And we are at a good spot. Nope, nope, nope. Gotta save, got to save. Save, save, save. Alright, now. Oh, okay, so that was a little tough. Okay, Monica, I think I'm done with this stream. Doing an Irish accent for 3 hours is super taxing. Oh, but here we are. All right, what do we got? We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that right there. Oh man, this is not a. This okay. So I mean,
Okay,
obviously
Blue.
the language is
You
not
must be exhausted from all that
super
hard work.
great.
Don't worry, you deserve a break. Maybe I can help keep the chat company until you get some rest. What do you say?
So that was pretty good. We managed to kill somebody, which, you know, is not that great, but at least she wanted to die, I guess, so she could be with her girlfriend. I mean, I suppose I could have chosen the other path, but this is so much more romantic. Plus, I mean, we hadn't seen a horror element in like an hour and a half, so I had to do something. So, who is available for rating? Let's see. Frostbite's still up? Well, I've rated her last time. I could read Beetle. He's only got like 18,000 viewers right now. That would be like throwing a fucking stone in the Atlantic Ocean. I have not gone to Blind Bandit's channel lately. She is doing Pokemon Emerald Rogue 2. So let's, okay, before we do that, let me see, is anybody doing, no, okay, so nobody's doing this game. All right, so I guess we'll just go to blind. Okay, so as I always say, do not feel like you have to be obligated to come along with me on this raid, okay? If you need to get a drink, if you need to have a little bite to eat, if you need to take a nap, do whatever you need to do to be you. But if you can wait for just a few more seconds, it will put a smile on my face. thank you, Odin. Thanks, Odin, for coming by. I appreciate you stopping by and lurking. It means a lot to me when people do that. And with that, let's go ahead and start the raid. Oh, you know what? Oh, I almost forgot a thing. Just in case. Fuck it. Let's just raid. Have a good night, y'all.